Hello, everyone. Hello, I'm Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Voxel. And I just realized, right as I was going live, I forgot to put the announcement in my Discord chat. But I'm going to do that right now. Wait, Discord chat, wedding. Yeah, this is it. I'm going to just putting it in there. Right, I'm just putting it in there right now, so that people know, besides me, that we're there. Hold on. Let's end. Wait. You know, I have two different cursors, and I like them for different reasons, and it makes me a little mad. Let's see. We're doing DLC live now, and then done. Ta-da! Hey, everybody. Ice Bunny is lurking, doing a bit of the rest of your laundry, which is fair. Hey, Skabanak and Rissa, and also Schmelza, how are you? So look, I have thoughts about things that I want to talk to you about before we start the game. Also, I want to make sure the volume is good. Volume looks good. Okay, hey, so first off, I don't know what you were all doing last night. Yeah. See, Rissa, I was origami shuriken. Hey, see, Rissa, I was thinking about the banjo. Hey, Red Rum Jiggler, I think I want to play the banjo at the end of the stream, not at the beginning of the stream. That's what I think. I think I want to sort of hang out with y'all and chat, warm up my voice, then at the end of the stream, play the banjo. That's what I think I want to do. Prax says, Trooper, do I give in? Do I buy it? Tell me if you buy the game. I don't know what game you're talking about, Prax, but the answer is yes. That's it. I mean, I'm just saying the answer is yes. Doesn't really matter what the game is. This is what I think. Am I enabling you? Oh, the Diablo 2 remaster. Yeah, say yes. Well, wait. Do you have to buy it now, or can you wait until it goes on sale? That's my question. Do you have to buy it now, or can you wait until it goes on sale? And do you think the sale price will drop like real quick? Because that's also a thing to think about. That's a. Do I get the game again? Oh, the tech beta. Oh, I wouldn't. But that's me personally. Like, this is just. I'm just gonna tell you my personal thing. That is just me, and I know that I'm a weirdo. Like, I know I'm a weirdo. It's fine. I don't tend to play things on pre-release or early access. I suppose unless it's some kind of arcade. Yeah, mainly because I don't tend to have the time to play games twice. With some very rare exceptions, do I play a game more than once, the same game? Because I'm like, should I play this game again, or should I play a new game that's on? And by new, I mean it's like 5 years old now, and it's on my hard drive. Like, for example, we have not played the Independent Game Festival's Excellence in Narrative nominees for 2021. I'm pretty sure we did 2020 though, right? I think we did. We, oh my gosh, what is my life? Hold on, let me see if I can check. Because I try to do this thing every year where I play the IGF. What am I even doing right now? What I'm doing is trying to find a cursor. Hold on. Okay. IGF Excellence in Narrative. That's what we're doing. Okay. I believe. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Okay. So IGF rules. Blah blah blah. Best blah blah game. Blah blah blah. That's fine. I want finalists and winners. Okay. I don't want 2021. I want 2020. I think it's 2021. So I think it's 2020 we haven't done yet. Let me check. 2019. The winner for Excellence in Narrative was design. was Return of the Obra Dinn. So we played the 2019 winner, although we did not play the rest of the games from 2019. We played Wander Song, Return of Obra Dinn. We did not play Genital Jousting because we're not allowed to. We didn't play Sears Island, Unavowed, or Watch Me Jumped. We haven't, and so I know we haven't done 2020. Like, I know we haven't done Excellence in Narrative. Heaven's Vault 1, which, you know, again, Mutazione, Elsinore, Wide Ocean, Big Jacket, Eliza, and Lion Killer. So we haven't done anything from 2020. So my point is, you're like, why am I talking about this? The point is, I try to play the Excellence in Narrative games every year. I haven't done the Excellence in Audio, which makes me really sad, or the General Winner. But the point, I try to do that, like a bit of a fun thing, and I haven't. I'm so far behind, and so when it comes to like playing a game twice, I think to myself, I could play the same game twice, or I could play these like games that I haven't done yet. And so I almost always go for the games that I haven't done yet rather than the ones that I've played already once. See, Carlo's correct. I played 2019, not 2020. I've got to do 2020 at some point. Hey, good morning, PH. How are you? And good morning, Barantor. Hold on, I need this to be here. That's what I need. Okay, this is my current life. I prioritize TTRPGs, which I support, despite your insistence on not sleeping. First off, there may have been there may have been a sleeping thing last night. I may have stayed up kind of late last night, but I stayed up last night for a good reason. After the game was over, which was super fun, by the way, for me at least, we had I was chatting with Lindy because, you know, Lindy is set to take over the criminal faction that Tango was developing and then sort of abandoned, and then also Sigmund got killed. So there's this criminal faction that Sigmund has been working on, and that Lindy's character, the Berlin Nightingale, is going to take over this faction. And she's like, talk to me about factions. So I was like, I would love to talk to you about how factions are working, how I've sort of developed factions. Here are the rules. Here's what's going on. This is what they can do. This is what they can't do. This is how they go. This is how individuals attack factions, how factions attack factions, how factions attack individuals. Here are the things you can do. Here's this, here's that. Did you know about like hostile convokes? Let me tell you about that, right? And we were going through the whole thing. And Grax, I totally slept. I just didn't sleep a lot. I just slept like 5 or 6 hours, that's all. I did sleep, that's all. And so, let me see. Oh, people told me interesting things. Playing the same game over and over again couldn't be me. Nervously looks at combined 7 copies of Age of Empires that I own by now. But, Schmelza, I don't know if that counts. I don't know if Age of Empires counts for what I'm talking about. I mean, I've played multiple run-throughs of Europa Universalis, Crusader Kings, games like that, but I always feel like those are like that. I feel like that's slightly different because that's kind of how those games run. Although, again, like it's not like I play Crusader Kings over and over and over again. I usually play it like a couple times and I've got to play something else. But you know, I feel like those games are slightly different. PH is doing well. How about yourself? I got word that my mom's going to be vaccinated soon, and that is a huge relief. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. PH, I was just thinking about you and thinking good thoughts about you. That's all. I think good thoughts about the people in the foxhole, just generally speaking, quite often. Yeah. No. I totally slept. It's just that I didn't get as many hours as I could. Yes, I had to level everybody up, right? We have 2 new cast members. We had to talk about it. Krellin says, Trooper, you need to stop surrounding yourself with people that don't appreciate your inability to keep track of time. That's probably true. And Red Rum's, and here I'm just getting some fever sipping. I hope you're healthy, Red Rum. Are you drinking fluids? Like, I've got some apple cider. This is regular apple cider. Make sure you drink fluids, some vitamin C, you know, get some sleep. Wizard Style says, most Age of Empires 2 happens online now, so that's different. Oh, that's interesting. Speaking of, wait, I don't think I finished all the thoughts. Yes, so, good, right, the good cider vitamins. So what I was going to say is, oh, there's so much I want to say. So the thing is that I would say that Bricktops has been underutilizing their factions, although they just leveled up, by the way. Their faction just leveled up. We've got to do some in Discord talk about what they want to do with their factions and whatnot. They're going to get their working women back, so that's exciting. They're going to be at their level 2 faction now, so that's really exciting. Yeah, so I'm excited about all of that. I like games I can play over and over, hoping that the Dwarf Fortress big upgrade. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, Barantor. About that. My hubby and I got our vaccines yesterday, both feeling but feeling better than I was earlier. Oh, that's good. That's good. Good. So the thing is that there's a lot you can do with those factions, and I was like thinking about it, and I've added like a new small rule, which I'm really excited about. I'm really developing this game. Anyway, Lindy, who likes some crunch, is like, wait, I can do what with a faction? How can I do this? What can I do? And I was like, these are the things you can do. She's like, interesting. And how easy would it be to take out like heavy industry? And I was like, well, these are the options. She's like, interesting. So it looks to me like she's not going to do it right. I mean, she's doing stuff right now, but her character has not yet taken control of this criminal faction, which she will when she RPs it and things go well. I presume that she will do that. But I showed her that we did the character sheet for that for that sub-faction, that little criminal empire she's building. And she was like, I was like, by the way, here's the severe consequence this group has, which is that their boss was just murdered. And here's the major consequence they have, which is their second in command, it just abandoned them. So your criminal empire is on the edge of collapse right now because it lost its number 1 and number 2, and they were not as well taken care of as they could have been. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. My character Frida, she's going to take care of this situation. And I was like, all right then. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Lindy does when it comes to utilizing a faction for efficacy. And I think that she's going to do some really interesting things, and hopefully other people will be inspired. And I'm very excited about that. As for the duo episodes, I'm super excited about them. Interesting. I'm super excited about these duo episodes coming up. One, because we've got this, when I realized what was going to happen in my mind, I was like, oh, so I don't know if you know this about the PCs, but of the PCs that we currently have, the 4 PCs we have, all of them are really good at will. Like they're all really, really good at will. And I was like, well, this is convenient because I'm going to basically run this entire thing as like this like big, long social conflict. And we already started with that first round of conflict. And so these 2 duo episodes are going to be these long and like kind of mellow social well, they're not going to be mellow, but they're going to be these social conflicts where people are just like, it's going to be an evening. Like I'm really excited about this conflict, everybody. I can't even talk about it. I mean, I can talk about it because we're here and we're talking about it. But what I'm trying to say is I'm really excited about what I'm planning on doing for this event because it's going to be a social conflict. It's just that it's going to take place over the entire session, right? Where you sort of wander around, you talk to people, people are going to be sort of taking pokes at you over time, you decide what you want to do about it. And I think it's going to be really good. I love the idea of running 2 parallel, like these 2 duo episodes happening in parallel, because it seems like a really fun GM challenge for me. Like, ooh, how do I do this and have this work out in this really cool way? I'm very excited about that. I should tell the players that they can watch it if they're not in it, if they want to. Yeah, so I'm really excited about the ways in which I think this social conflict is going to play out in both these sessions. I'm really excited about the challenge for me in coordinating these 2 sessions so that they feel like they're actually happening in parallel time, even though they're 2 separate sessions. That's something I'm really excited about, is like a fun GM challenge, because I do like a good GM challenge. I like what you did with allowing the players to give advantage to the other duo. Yeah, I was like, I think that's because for me, it kind of like will represent like what are the characters who are at the same party. But because you've ever been to one of those really, really big parties where like it's massive and there's people everywhere, and it's not like you can't just coordinate so easily with each other because that friend of yours is way on the other side and they're talking to somebody, you don't really get to chat with them. But and so I'm really excited about the idea that, okay, well, you're at the party, but you're not gonna be able to interact so much with each other because of all the politics going on. So what can you gift them? So I thought that was really fun, gifting them an aspect. So I like that. I think that was really, or oh my gosh, Rissa, or a big gaming convention. Exactly. If you've been at a big gaming convention where you've got friends there and you do want to chat with them and hang out, but then you just can't. So I'm kind of going for that feeling where it's just, there's a lot going on, and also you don't want to look like you know each other too much. You want to keep things, subtle. So I'm really excited about y'all. I am so excited about a number of things that have come up, just came up at the last session. I love the ways in which it's hard to find a group of 10 people in a crowd of 150K. Yes. I love the ways in which Lisette Roland, which you all knew from season 1, has a similar story, not exactly the same, but there are these sort of interesting parallels. So look, Lindy's character, Frida, is so interesting to me. They all are, really, right? Because she's got these really interesting parallels, right, to a number of different characters in the world, right? So she has got interesting parallels with Lisette, which gives her a kind of an in. And the thing about, I look forward to Frida's hubby's ending. Her hubby is not the greatest person. I love watching her put two and together when she's like, oh, wait, oh. Or if you can see them, but can't get to them right then, too many people in the way. Totally Red Rum, where you're like, oh, I see you, I want to, oh, I can't, right? You make that eye contact, you can't see each other. But I love the ways in which, so like, okay, look, Lisette Roland is this character who I introduced in season 1, who mostly interfaced with Jules, and is a really interesting contact for them because she's got resources, she's got contact, and she's also her house is the location, her chateau is the location of where a lot of really important parties happen. And I was like, oh, here's this interesting NPC that the players could deal with. But once Jules left, the rest of the party just didn't talk to her. And I was like, okay, like, because again, I'm running this very sandbox, and the players can do what they want to do. Like, Lisette still exists, but she was basically left alone almost all of season 2. She came back in very briefly for season 3 to help with the move. But now, maybe because of the interesting parallels between her and Frida, maybe she will come back onto the scene again, which will be interesting. I'm excited about that. And I think there's some really interesting, cool parallels there. I like the fact that she's a performer, just like Oscar and Sylvie. I like that because Lindy and I were talking last night for a time period about her background in crime. She herself was not a criminal, but she grew up, and we established this part when she first made her character, but she grew up in the very, very poor part of Berlin. Probably I didn't tell her this, but probably in the Kurfürstendamm, which is the entertainment area, around that area. Anyway, she grew up in a really, really poor part of Berlin, and like, she knows people who, she has a complicated background. She's an opera singer now, but she has a complicated background, which allows her space to move into this, right, sort of potentially move into this moment with the kind of schemes that Sigmund and Tango are putting together, but in a very different way, because Sigmund and Tango are very different people than Frida is, and they go about things really differently. And so I'm really excited to see those connections. Well, she's Jules' girlfriend, and they didn't want to remind her he was gone, or they didn't want her to remind them he was gone. Maybe. Lindy is not from Berlin, but her character is from Berlin. Her character Frida is from Berlin. And and so like, anyway, I just thought that was really interesting, and I'm really excited for KP's new character, Pritam, because Dr. Singh, because so he's a doctor. We have a doctor, but the doctor we have cannot practice legally, and he can. Also, he's got like also really interesting connections, and I think it's really fascinating that look, what I'm going to tell you, and this is something that I cannot say for certain because I don't know what the players are going to do. I know what I think the players are planning long term, i.e., by the time we get to the end of the season. But again, I cannot say 100% because you never know what players are going to do. But I suspect from the ways in which I hear them chattering, what they're planning on doing with Frida is getting her to go back to Berlin with her husband, in a way that the way they're talking about trying to like about her going back to Berlin with her husband so that she can get people into the Wannsee conference so they can maybe find out what's going on or murder some people, that kind of stuff. But that involves her basically returning to who she is again. Legality, bah. And so here's what's really interesting about this is that if they do that, then she goes back to being her. Well, she goes back to a lot of things. But what that would mean, think about this for a moment. This is so fascinating. That means that we would have an entire party of people that this particular group of agents at this time would be 4 people, all of whom are using their real names, except for Oscar, basically are using real personae, and they're working through their real lives, right? The same way that like somebody like Josephine Baker was not using a fake identity; she was just being her real self, and various other like because you have resistance agents who are not using fake identities, but who are using who they really are. And you had people who use fake identities, and it'll be really interesting to see a group for whom almost all of them are using their real identities in their daily life, as well as maybe having a side fake aliases here and there. And so I'm really interested in what that can bring to the table, probably for season 4. Very exciting. That sounds so dangerous with this psycho hubby. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And that cop. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Julia Child 2 is another one. There are a bunch of them. So I'm really excited about these duo episodes. And one of the things I'm excited about is seeing how they deal with this sort of larger political issue, this party. But I'm also interested in, how do I put this? If they will finish the party before the episode, early in the episode or not, like, or midway through the episode. Because, for example, if the party, like, they might finish their time at the party at the half mark, maybe. And if they do, that means they have time to do duo episode stuff outside of the party, which will also be really interesting. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I'm excited to find out, because I certainly know stuff that Frida and the Prince can do, the opera singer and the Prince. Sounds like romantic comedy, doesn't it? But I certainly know things that they can do duo-wise on their once the party's over. So there's like a bunch of stuff that I think is going on and possible, and I'm very, very excited about that. So, you know, I'm excited. With Sylvie gone, I think they may not have access to him as a resource. That is correct. No, and also he doesn't know any of them, nor does he trust any of the other people. So I think they're going to basically lose him as a resource unless they can find a way. That'll be really difficult because he doesn't know them, right? There's only one person he knows, and that's Oscar, and Oscar's dead, right? So that's tricky. I should have been awake. In December, you would have had all the evergreens, and I don't mean songs. It's fair. Not fake flowers. Isn't when the party's over a Billie Eilish song? Oh. Maybe, yes. And he's already getting death threats. He is already getting death threats. So I think that he's probably lost to them as a contact. I think it'll be very hard for them to get him back. I mean, he's still out there doing his stuff, but I think it'll be hard for him to get coordinations. And I think that'll be tricky for them. Also, yeah. Oh, by the way, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go here. By the way, I downloaded the DLC. We're gonna do DLC. Is what we're gonna do. I'm very excited. To begin your adventure on Gorgon, I've done that. After completing this quest, okay. So we're gonna do Peril on Gorgon. That's what we're gonna do. Peril on Gorgon, because you know, Luke could be a vector for. Oh, actually, that's true. That's true. Luke could be a vector. Actually, thank you, Rissa. That's a very good point. He knows Luke, and he's quite invested in Luke. So Luke could be a vector to getting connected to him again. That is true. Luke would be a vector. Um, Luke would be a vector. Oh, I just had an idea for something else. Gang. Okay, look. This is what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to tell you is I am super excited about the GM challenge of coordinating these two sessions. And I'm thinking about to myself, okay, if I've got these two parallel sessions happening with two different pairs of players, one this coming week and the one after, what are the things that I can do to what are cool things that, like, it's for me it's a GM challenge, right? This is a GM challenge wherein I want to do cool things. Also, where am I'm on the unreliable. That's interesting. That's not helping me.
You have a message from Adjutant.
Hey, Tugboat Sailor.
I'm impressed, Captain. I almost expected you wouldn't go through with it.
I didn't.
Unfortunately, Dr. Wells found a way to corrupt the signal before we could pinpoint his location. Still, it's only a matter of time before we find him. Come visit me, Byzantium. We need to have a talk about the future of this colony.
I have some questions about all of that. I do have some questions. Hey, Toy Boat Sailor. I like Luke, I hope he loses this mess. Oh, PH, you know, he's got a girlfriend. Maybe they're gonna find out about her sometime. I don't know. That might be interesting. There's stuff going on there in that moment. You know, there are things that could be exciting. And you know, I'm really excited for stuff. That's all. I don't think he knows Luke's resistance, but he doesn't have to reveal that necessarily. Luke's girlfriend's a cradle robber. Is he dating a script? No, I'm like, look, we're just gonna find out what's going on. Great. If KP doesn't have an evil ex, we can get Luke one, or at least until Regina takes her out. I mean, because Regina would kill somebody who's, you know, trying to hurt Luke. That is 100% factual. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Look, I'm excited. But what I want to say is, look, this is okay. So I suppose I should tell you this. I'm going to say, how do I know this isn't a trap?
Because I'm not in the business of arresting my own allies. You have my word. Meet me in my office. I've authorized your ship at my personal landing pad.
Huh.
Adjutant Akande has ended her call. Rather rudely, if I might say, considering she didn't sign off. Will there be anything else, Captain?
Let's go. I feel like we're gonna do this because apparently we can do it. We just have to fly somewhere. Apparently we can fly anywhere. And if we fly anywhere, it will start the thing for us. So let's just fast travel here and see if we get our DLC popping up.
Captain?
Yes?
I'm receiving an urgent docking request from another vessel.
Greetings from the Halcyon Parcel Service. Delivery is guaranteed within standard margins of certainty. I've got a special delivery for Alex Hawthorne of the Unreliable. With your permission, I'll see it transferred to your ship.
Okay, what is it?
It's a parcel, sir.
Okay, I mean, what's the parcel?
A parcel is a shipment wrapped and prepared for delivery, sir.
I'm asking you what's inside this parcel.
Opening a customer's parcel is strictly against regulations. HPS's no peeking policy guarantees that your deliveries remain confidential and HPS remains free of any liability.
I'm gonna up that volume for you, Rissa. Thank you. All right, just give me the damn parcel.
With alacrity. Stand by, Captain Hawthorne. An HPS certified distribution technician has deposited the parcel into your cargo hold in accordance with hazardous waste disposal procedures.
Wait, they did what?
They dispensed 3 complimentary spritzes of Anti-Cleo's Citrus Squirt Air Freshener. That's the HPS touch for you, Captain Hawthorne. On behalf of HPS, I'd like to remind you that HPS is not responsible for any damage, defacement, or unseemliness to your parcel. Thank you for your patience. And please remember HPS for all of your future parcel-related needs.
All right, I'm going to point out that I could just say sure thing and leave the conversation. I could cut their transmission, which seems a little rude, leave the conversation, or I could make a rude hand gesture, which seems even more rude, and then cut their transmission. But I would not be rude because this is just a worker. You know what I mean? This is just a worker. I'm not going to be rude to the worker. Come on, come on. It's not. We're not going to do that. All right. So look, I wanted to tell you something. Don't forget you have a finale of another sort entirely to jam later today, which I do, and that starts at it's the finale of Fate of Cthulhu, The Return of Carcosa, and that is at 6 p.m. today. I'll be finishing my stream at 3, which will give me about like 2.5 hours to do prep, try to figure out what's going on with my email, which I think I know, but I don't know. So I've got an email situation going on, and get food, do all that stuff, and get ready for, send messages to my players, and get ready for the madness, as a matter of fact. Which is, let's see, weave the tale. Thank you, Rissa. This is why you need to be friends with Akbar, because he always knows when it's a trap. This is true. This is true. So, I'm excited for the prince. I'm excited for what this could be. I'm excited for this look, I didn't finish that thought. I really love a good GM challenge. When I have time to think, I like to really prepare my games. I like to prepare my games a lot. And by that, I mean, I like to think, when I have the time to do what I want to do, I'll do extra historical research. I will, spend time, there are a number of things that I do for GM prep that are what I do. And when I'm GMing in my preferred style, right? Because I have multiple styles that I can GM in, and I do preparation in different ways, depending on what
Sending a corrupted tracking signal to the board was quite clever, if I might say, Captain.
Oh, thanks. Do you want to tell me anything more?
Welcome back, Captain.
Hey, Ada.
How can I be of assistance?
You mentioned Aetherwave drama. I'd like to see it.
Certainly, Captain. I was hoping you would ask.
Grizzle presents Murder on Erinice. Halcyon Helen versus the Brain Eaters, Chapter 12. Starring Ruth Bellamy as Halcyon Helen.
It was the law-forsaken parasites.
Wait, is this the DLC?
I had become obsessed. My quest to stop them. To avenge my partner, Philip.
Oh, these graphics
my
look great.
ex-partner, Bernice. And Lieutenant Jurgen. And those 2 informants had brought me to Rizzo's distillery.
There's a bug here.
But it wasn't just the triple distilled deliciousness of Rizzo's Spectrum brand vodka that I found there. It was death.
Oh my goodness.
I made sure the Brain Eaters paid the price.
I'm a little concerned.
But at what cost to me?
I love the pores on this person's face. Also, I feel like we just triggered the wrong DLC. Just side note. Also, your turn, my turn. Hey, how are you? Oh, wow. No longer black and white.
It's you.
This is the Halcyon News Network with breaking news. Halcyon Helen has been murdered. Administrator Ludovico of Rizzo's refused to answer the big question on everyone's mind. Who will Spectrum Vodka's next spokesperson be? Claiming that a special investigation must be concluded first.
Wait, the actor was murdered too?
Captain, we have a communication coming in from one Administrator Ludovico.
Get off the transmission, Cedric. We agreed to let me do the negotiating. Law be with you, friend. I am Administrator Ludovico of the famed Eridanos Atmospheric Complex. But there's no need to stand on formality. You may address me as Mr.
I don't even know you. How about I just call you Lou?
How about not?
Okay, Lou.
I apologize if I've struck too familiar a tone for your tastes. Let me get right to the point. Halcyon Helen is dead. Murdered.
Murder.
Her death is the tragedy of our lifetime.
I don't even know
As
you.
the face of our new product line, her murder is a stain on the Rizzo's brand. She was scheduled to unveil our newest product, Spectrum Brown, before this tragic event. But we cannot move forward with our unveiling until we apprehend the killer.
Interesting. I like murder mysteries. Your first thought was to come to me? Like, that's pretty weird.
All right, Ludovico, that's enough. You don't know what you're doing. Let me handle this. Captain Hawthorne, I've been looking forward to meeting Adjutant Akonde's favorite gun.
What?
Cedric Kincannon, Sublight Underground. I'm so glad we're hiring a third-party investigator. No one wants to see a troop of UDL guards stomping all over my hotel, least of all me. The murder of Halcyon Helen is a heinous assault on this colony. I look forward to watching you find the miscreant responsible and drag them out of the shadows.
Okay, I'm not gonna be rude. I've never heard of Sublight Underground.
Don't worry. You and I are going to become very close acquaintances.
Interesting.
I run the Grand Colonial Hotel and Piraeus Spaceport.
Uh-huh.
Ludovico and I are business partners.
Interesting.
In a manner of speaking. Eridanos is our shared responsibility.
Uh-huh.
Eridanos is not our shared responsibility. Eridanos is my responsibility, to which you and your organization have latched on like a parasite.
Wow, okay.
Ludovico, you wound me. I'm establishing rapport with our new contractor. Let's not give him the impression that you can't be trusted.
Wow.
Do you really want to do this right now, Cedric? You want to antagonize me while I'm negotiating a contract. Because I promise you, I'll win.
So I can say, gentlemen, please, as far as I'm concerned, you're both idiots, or I can say, can we get back to the point here, please? Or I can just let them argue. And let's just let them argue and find out if we learn new info.
We can do this anytime you want. I'll even make an appointment. I'm sure your schedule's wide open. What with your product launch being indefinitely delayed due to unforeseen murder.
Wow.
All right, Cedric. If that's how you want to behave, I have no choice but to file an official reprimand on your permanent record.
Wow.
Oh, please do. I'd love an official reprimand from a failed executive. Could you do me a favor and have it laminated?
Could we please stop this nonsense?
Who are you?
Captain, I'm
Hi.
Constable Maria Keene.
Hello.
Hiring a third-party investigator was my idea.
I see.
I've been studying your dossier.
Uh-huh.
You are Adjutant Akonde's most reliable freelancer.
Am I?
If the second most powerful person in Halcyon can depend on you, then I'd like to think we can depend on you. As
Cool.
far as I'm concerned, you're the ideal inspector for this case.
Just how many people are involved in this communication is what I want to know.
Just the three of us.
Just the three? No one else is going to jump in here unexpectedly? I mean,
You must excuse us. The situation on Eridanos is tense.
apparently.
If we don't bring Helen's killer to justice,
Mhm.
this scandal could scupper our entire operation. Please, Captain, I'm asking you to help us. While you're pursuing your investigation, we'll make you a guest of honor at the Grand Colonial.
I'll come lounge around and then I'll decide.
I encourage you to consider this offer seriously.
I should ask for a
The
raise.
future of
Your turn,
our
my turn.
complex may depend on your success.
Mhm.
I'll leave you in the constable's care. Mr. Kincannon and I must have a word.
You two should.
Fine. Bud Rizzo's is paying for that hotel room.
Awesome.
I can't tell you how grateful I am for your help. And even though they may not show their gratitude, I know Administrator Ludovico and Mr. Kincannon appreciate your involvement.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Kincannon could
Constable.
lose his spaceport if board authorities took over the investigation. And if Rizzo's is forced to cancel its unveiling, we might never recover.
Helen must have been pretty popular for Death into operations. These two seem to have some issues. You seem competent. You could have dealt with this. I'm going to say, I mean, yeah, she does. She seems very competent, right? Right?
I
Yeah.
represent the law, Captain.
Uh-huh.
But what's happening between Mr. Kincannon and the
Oh,
administrator
I
is
see.
politics.
Uh-huh.
Politics are not my area of expertise.
I'm a
The law is simple. Politics are complicated.
you sound a bit worn out.
Me? Worn out? Perish the notion. My days are filled with catering to the oh-so-reasonable requests of Mr. Ludovico and Mr. Kincannon. What's not to like?
I like you. I'm gonna say, they seem like jackasses.
Your words, not mine.
Just saying.
Please don't take my lack of disagreement as anything other than fatigue. I am a content, productive, and happy member of our society.
You know, those two seem to have some issues.
The administrator oversees Rizzo's operations. Cedric runs the hotel and the spaceport. They're always at each other's throats. My life would be so much easier if they'd simply learn to work together.
Relax, they're nothing I can't handle. I
I'm pleased to hear
specialize
that.
this.
From everything I've heard, you're a competent freelancer. And at the risk of sounding impertinent, we desperately need the help of someone competent. Thank you for your time, Captain. Whenever you're ready, I've authorized the Unreliable to land at the Grand Colonial.
Thanks, but I don't have everything I need. I wanted to...
Transmission terminated.
But
Captain, we are now cleared to land at the Eridanos Atmospheric Complex.
I wanted to ask more about Helen. I don't know why they're trusting me to catch Halcyon Helen's killer, though.
There are several reasons why someone would hire your services. In descending order of likelihood, they are as follows: desperation, confusion, mistaken identity, inebriation, and genuine faith in your abilities.
Okay. Well, but what can you tell me about Eridanos? Very, very flattering, Ada.
Eridanos is a hydrogen-helium gas giant, distinguished by a well-defined ring system. The Eridanos Atmospheric Complex is a system of land masses propelled through a thin layer of the upper atmosphere, where humans are potentially capable of surviving.
Okay, well, thanks, Ada. Hey, I leveled up! And I have skill points. And I'm hungry. Not me. I mean, you know. So, better spend them before they... Yeah. So, I need to eat food because, oh, look, I'm finally done with all this super, super heavy Raptidon meat, which is pretty exciting. Yeah, let's just, have that Raptidon meat, why don't we? All right, I'm going to level up. The encounter gate meets more with me. I eat, let's see, I could increase my lie intimidate, but I'm not going to do that right now. I wanted to do actually, yes, I've got all this tech stuff that I could do, like lockpicking, sneaking, and hacking, and all of that goodness. But I also feel like I want to up my handguns, everybody. I just feel like I sometimes get into fights, gunship fights, fighting. I've been working my lockpicking. Nope. Look, I'm gonna. Oh, wait. I can increase my persuade even more. I can increase my persuade even more, everyone. I could be so persuasive. No. I'm going to increase my handgun. Look, this is what I'm doing. Because I have not, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to increase my handgun and I'm going to get it to 80. That's what I'm doing. I want you to know it. I'm doing that. And there are all lots of things that I need to do in my life. including more hacking and sneaking and lockpicking. I clearly need to do those things as well. Like, I know that, and I will, but I'm going to get my handguns up to 80. I've decided. And this is what I'm doing. That's what's happening. There we go. That's it. I'm a jack of all trades, a master of none. Although, like, I've not put any points into all sorts of random things. Like, there are all sorts of random things.
Who ordered the bottles of Raptidon musk? One has broken.
Like, I'm really not putting in points into a lot of other things. But what is this? Halcyon Parcel Services. Oh, I wanted to tell you things. He's been feral. All right. Hello. What's in here? That looks like a severed hand, everybody. What's this? This looks bad. Do I want to use this? What's going on?
Hawthorne, if you're getting this, something's happened to me. Got mixed up in some shady business on Gorgon. Should have known better. But I landed on something big.
I see you, Krillin.
Now this job's an itch I can't stop scratching.
An adventure for 1 through 3 employees, level 25 and up.
Research compound left to the sprats. I think I'm close to figuring out why. But something dangerous is closer to me. Got the job through one Minnie Ambrose. Top runger who just came into some money. Was offering a hefty bid card for qualified help. Trust me, her money's good. Talk to Minnie. Take the job. If I ain't gonna live to see the payday, might as well be you. Consider us even, old pal.
Well, that fellow certainly seemed trustworthy.
I've gotten jobs from some unusual sources, but this is a first. Congratulations, Captain.
I don't mean to sound prim, Captain, but there's gotta be a better way to ask someone to do you a favor.
And a severed hand?
I just want to say, we gotta take this job. This is the closest I ever been to starring in a serial drama. Only thing we're missing is a couple cameras and a soundtrack.
At least this won't be boring.
Point 1. I love that we're starring in serial dramas for our DLC. That makes me happy. Money and intrigue? I'm sold.
Captain, the message contains landing coordinates for a small asteroid in the Charybdis cluster. It was recently registered to a Wilhelmina Ambrose.
Who was this guy, Ada?
He was an old friend of Alex Hawthorne's.
Okay.
Lucky Montoya had a statistically significant tendency to encounter situations of extreme danger.
Well, yeah. I doubt this guy lost his arm filling out paperwork.
He was also the 4th best paid freelancer in the system.
Only the 4th?
There are several hundred freelancers operating in Halcyon. Considering the numbers, Mr. Montoya ranked among the top percentile. This had less correlation with his measured aptitudes, which rank at or below average, than with a pattern of fortunate circumstances.
Any chance he's alive?
Based on the condition of the limb, I calculate a 92.7% chance that Mr. Montoya expired from his injuries.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There is what humans colloquially call a sprat's chance in a mantisaur's den. That is a very low chance, Captain. I have transferred the coordinates for Ambrose Manor to your navigation terminal. We can travel there when you are ready.
Oh, I suppose I'll just take this severed hand then.
Hawthorne, if you're getting this, something's happened to me. Got mixed up in some shady business on Gorgon. Should have known better. But I landed on something big. And now this...
I've got a severed hand. Just thought I'd point it out. Just, you know. So, we're gonna be playing serials, it looks like.
Good to see you, boss.
Yeah. Hey, Moswolf. Hey, you got a minute? I just want to talk about this business on Gorgon.
So we just sat around a table talking about a severed arm.
Yep.
Of all the weird things that happened on this ship, that ranks somewhere in the middle.
What do you think about this Lucky Montoya guy?
You ever watch The Masked Marketeer?
I cannot say that I have.
Episode 5 of The Masked Marketeer. first appearance of a recurring villain. Big ol' galoot, built like one of those industrial-class garbage compressors. His name? Tiny.
We'll just let him continue.
Every adventure serial's gotta have a supporting character with an ironical name. It's a rule of the Genry.
Genre.
Mass Marketeer
Genre.
had a massive bruiser named Tiny, and we got ourselves a real unfortunate hullhead named Lucky. Coincidence? I think not.
Okay. My weekend is going well so far. We had a great episode of City of Light and Shadow. I'm excited for where it's going to go. And I was talking to you all about what kind of GM prep I like to do when I get to do GM prep like the way I want. Let's see. I don't know how to tell you this, but we're not in an adventure serial. We're in a video game.
Not yet, we're not. We keep picking up jobs like this, and somebody's bound to make a serial about us.
Oh, okay.
We're freelancers. We take any job we can get. But this one? The dying message of a stranger. A severed hand delivered in a crate.
It's true.
Let's just say it beats flying around the colony running errands.
It's fair.
So, of course, I'm gonna be excited.
I gotta hand it to you, Felix. You've got heart.
Hey, I get it. Gotta hand it to me. Severed hand. That's what you were going for, right?
Sure.
That wasn't what you were going for. Yep, I can tell by the way you're glaring at me.
I almost never take Felix with me, but I feel like I should take him with me on this mission because he really loves cereals.
Yeah, boss?
Yeah, so I think I should do that. So we were talking about what I do like my regular prep, like I do my regular prep, which is like looking at my notes and all that kind of stuff.
Hey, Cap.
Actually, you know what? I don't know if you know what my regular prep is. Actually, I don't know if there is regular prep. Maybe I don't even do regular prep. Maybe my prep is just ridiculous. Anyway, like, if I'm going to tell you what I do, if I have, like, all the time in the world, no distractions, and can do whatever I want for prep, like, in an ideal world, what I do for prep is review the last session, take notes on the last session, maybe upload a session recap. Then looking at the notes from the last time, I extrapolate what I think will be the consequences from what happened last time and what I think is like coming up next, like within the world itself. Like, oh, they did this to that person. That's probably going to mean this, this, this. And so I kind of just like follow the stream. Like I follow the sandbox a little bit, figuring out like, oh, what's going to happen here. Then I think, like, I try to think of like 3 things that I think are probably going to happen based on what happened last time. And those are like, that's the minimum. And then when I have all of the time in the world, I also go back over each person's character sheet and study their character sheet for a while, each person's. And I think, okay, well, this is what's on their character sheet. Let me think about what's going on with them, where they are in their life, what can happen next with them. I just spend a lot of time thinking about each character and take any notes I can about their character themselves, any X's they have, or whatever's going on. I think about that. And then once I've done things like review the last session, think about what's happening in the world, think about what's happening to the characters, right? All of that. I do all of that stuff. Taking any notes, any extra research I might want to do. Then I've got the usual prep, which might be like getting photographs for NPCs or making props. Speaking of which, there are these props that I have made that I really need to deliver to some of the players right now. Oh, do you want to see what I did? You don't take Felix, because Felix is an idiot and Nyoka's best friend. But I could take Nyoka and Felix, right? I could take them both. Well, I don't know if I can show you right now. All right, I'm going to do a show and tell. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you a thing. Whoop. I'm going to show you a thing that I did. This is going to go up on the City of Light and Shadow website. When I, let me see. Hold on. So okay, look. What I'm about to show you is evidence that I am, how do you say, extra, is what I think it's the best thing that I can tell you. 41, the question is, have I done everything yet? Is the question. Oh, yeah. I think I know what happened there. And this is, yep, okay. So I want to show you that. I want to show you this. And I want to show you that. Okay, so actually, now that I'm looking at it, this is actually done. I could have shown this, I could have given this to the players 1,000 years ago already. I just need to send this to them, is what I need to do. Time of Gift says, huge praise to SCP for Falstaff's surname reveal because being me, I decided to look up British ambassadors, Weimar, Germany, and lo and behold, yes. So the thing of Time of Gifts, Falstaff himself doesn't exist as a person, but his father and his mother do. His father and his mother are real people, and they never had kids, but I figured like in our universe, they had a son. And so Falstaff does exist as an actual human being. And I'm thinking about like, okay, who's his son? What is his son? Because his father, when his father died, that particular sort of like noble title basically just kind of like died. But I was like, I want to go and so I've inserted like, and I will do that sometimes. Sometimes I'll make, when I make games, I'll make somebody who, like a historical game, somebody who didn't exist in real life, but theoretically could have. And then I insert them to sort of tell sort of slightly different sorts of stories. And so I'm really sort of interested in what does it mean for this person, Falstaff, whose father was this ambassador who was known to be like an appeaser, but like, was he not? What do you think about it? And also, by the way, his dad died just like last month in game. And no one's really talked to him about that yet, but actually I think that the prince would know that his father died, so I'm going to tell KP that Falstaff's father died last month. And anyway, these are things that I'm very excited about. Moswolf says, the more extra the better in my opinion, as long as that extra sim that you feel will show up in a session and doesn't take up your time for other things. I love little gems. But also sometimes even if it doesn't show up on camera, if it's often there for me, so that's often good, so that it helps me improvise better, I suppose. Okay. Yeah, no, his father died last month, November 1st, and I don't think it's come up in game yet. And November 1st, that's in our time skip, which means Falstaff may not know yet that his father died. Excuse me. Falstaff doesn't. His father's. How come Falstaff doesn't know? Falstaff doesn't know because the entire Paris resistance network has been basically dismantled. And he's been running around plugging holes this entire time. So he's been very busy, not getting a lot of contact. We also know that there's a communication problem because London had to tell Regina to tell Falstaff to meet with de Gaulle's person, which means messages have to go through Regina to get to Falstaff at the moment, because there's the working woman, they have radios, but they're sort of, it's hard to coordinate with them, which means if Falstaff's father died last month, November 1st, which he did, historically, and let's say that Falstaff doesn't know yet, that means they're going to tell Regina to tell Falstaff. That will be good. I think that'll be fun times. That'll be good, right? So Regina's going to find out that Falstaff's father's died, and Regina's father was murdered by Regina. So Regina's got some. So this, I think that'll be really good. So I have to not forget that is going to have to happen. That's going to have to happen. Yeah, because he's not been back. He's not been back to London to have any kind of contact, and he's been super busy, and we haven't really done that yet. So the question is, why haven't they told him yet? Yeah, they just, I think they just haven't told him yet. And this is also, that's like not business, and so I think that it's going to have to come through. Doris will go and have to sort of, Ophelia will have to send that message through. So the next time we get a radio broadcast, we'll have that happen in game. That makes sense. I think that'll be interesting. Yes. After the mass Nazi murder in the castle. Hey, again, I just, you have to note that Falstaff is an average person in terms of attitudes for 1941. That's all. Yeah. I find people very interesting. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you the thing. Right, I wanted to show you the thing. Let me show you. I need to send this to the players. Because it's kind of ridiculous that I haven't, because I actually did all, it looks like, wait, I feel like if I haven't sent this to them yet, even though I could have, there's a reason for it. What is the reason that I haven't sent this off yet? When I'm basically, I feel like I've not finished something. I feel like there's something in my story that I have not finished yet. And I kind of want to know what it, like, why have I not sent this stuff off when it looks like I finished it? That I finished these props. I really feel it. Okay, so.
Somebody's watching me.
I always feel that somebody's watching me and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Ba-da-da-ba-bow. Thank you for that follow. A musing cat, an amusing cat, a cat that is amusing, or a cat that is musing, one way or the other. Like it's a question. Is it fear? No, I have to figure that out. I have a question. I have a question about, I feel like I must have wanted to do one more thing, is what I feel like. But is that even true? Was there one more thing I wanted to do? Let me think. You get the award, the notice, I feel like I might have basically, I just think I need to send this off. Not Falstaff. Regina's a bit busy to get rid of some folks at a party. You got squirreled. Okay, so look, you know how Regina and Doris were given an award when they were off in London, which is they were mentioned in dispatches. Wait, I know what it was. Thank you very much. I know exactly what the last thing was. I know why I haven't sent this off yet, and I'm gonna have to write this down because I will forget it otherwise. Hold on. Mention in dispatches, citation card. I know why I haven't sent it off yet. I know why I haven't sent it to them because I want to do one more extra thing is what it was. Now I know. I had average 40s dudes in my family, so I know how annoying that can be, especially when you are the girl and not the boy I should have been. Yeah, but again, it's kind of normal for 1941. Time of Gift says, of course, the big event in Falstaff's father's time as ambassador to Germany was the invasion of Germany and the occupation of the Ruhr by France. So he could reasonably doubt German militarism at the time, yes. Like Remains of the Day set in the 1920s in the novel. So Lord Darlington's actions are more admirable or debatable depending on your view. Exactly. Amusing cat. Exactly. Right. And so and I think also Time of Gifts, I think Falstaff's father was not wrong in saying that maybe punitive sanctions on Germany just to punish them is not a good idea, right? Sort of like long term. But I think about, like, for me, I think about, like, what would it mean for Falstaff to have a father who's being held up as, like, this terrible appeaser in the middle of World War II? Like, what does that mean for him? Like, you know, his relationship to patriotism and trying to live down, right? So, like, I think there's something like, I still want to smack up down the Champs-Elysees, pardon my French. Yeah, no, people, I mean, I just feel like it's fascinating that people hate him more than they hate people who are like some actual Nazis in my game, which I was like, that's cool. People do what they're going to do. I think it's fascinating. Or super sketch. But look, okay, now I know why I haven't sent this off yet, because I wanted to make a citation card, which is probably one of the many tabs I have open because I've been trying to find, okay, look. So when he's just like, I agree. It's weird. You know, like, I just think it's interesting, right? I just think it's interesting. I'm very fascinated by people's reactions to things. So, Doris and Regina were mentioned in dispatches, which is an award, or it's like a pre-award. And I remember now exactly what I wanted to do, which was I wanted to actually make this award for them as props. And I started the process of doing this, making these awards for them as props. And what I'm going to tell you is I went extra. So I went and I did a bunch of research to figure out what the mentions in dispatch award itself looked like. Like if they're going to hand you like a certificate, what did that certificate itself look like? And it looks like this. So this is what the certificate of a mention in dispatch looks like. And I went and reproduced it by hand so that I could present it to Little Red Dot and Pumpkinberry. They're not here on this call right now, so they can't see this. This is good. So I went and I matched the font. The red part was done in hand by somebody's handwriting. And so I went and I got a font that looks like handwriting, right? So this is by the King's order, the name of Assistant Section Officer Regina Krause, Women's Auxiliary Air Force, Air Intelligence 10. I found the exact unit I think that she would have been assigned to. Was published in the London Gazette on 3 October 1941, as mentioned in a dispatch for distinguished service. I'm charged to record His High Majesty's appreciation. And then this is the Secretary of War, and that's the signature for the Secretary of War. By the way, I found out who was the Secretary of War in October of 1941. Then I did a search on the internet to find out what his signature looked like. And then I copied his signature and I put it in this document so that this is what the actual Secretary of War signature looks like. I used vector drawings to get this to look just right. So this is the certificate that Regina is going to get. This is the certificate that Doris is going to get. Junior Commander Doris Asher, Auxiliary to Territorial Service, Royal Signer Corps. I have to check the date, 17 October. I have two different dates. Hold on, make a note. Check dates on dispatch. Don't forget that, because I've got two different dates. And I think it's actually, what's the date? What is the date? This is actually, they were in the 14th of October. So I need to change the date on both of these. So it's the correct date. Sorry. And you're like, what are you talking about? Well, okay. So here's the next part. There's one thing that I haven't done yet. And I need to just do this. I need to go and like pull images, do the Photoshop, all that stuff. But this is the actual certification. But when somebody nominates you for one of these awards, they have to fill out a card. They have to fill out like a form. Like there's a military form that you fill out to say that I want to nominate this person for this award. And that is the one thing I haven't done yet. I want to actually sort of create the nomination form. And I've been looking, that's what I was doing the last time. I was doing a lot of internet searching, trying to find out what these forms actually look like. And I think I finally found them. I was having a hard time because most of the ones I found were for the Navy. And I want the ones that would be appropriate or more or less. And I want to actually fill out the form as Falstaff for Regina and as Vera Atkins for Doris. And that's the reason why I haven't sent this off yet, because I have to fill out these citation forms saying what actually they did to earn this award. Do I sleep? I totally sleep. Scavenex says, Trooper is showing us the sorts of things you can get done if you don't sleep. No, I totally sleep. So basically this is like really important to me because this award is very vague, but I really want the actual citation where it says what they actually did, which if you ever, I have been given medals before and they have an actual citation with what the things that you've done, and this one will be classified because they're doing spy work, but I want the players to know what the NPCs are awarding them for more specifically. So that's the thing I haven't finished. Don't let me forget I need to do that. But the other thing is, and this is where I went and got super extra, although you haven't seen the citation forms yet, which I haven't finished, but I will. You also haven't seen Regina's dad's diary that I'm also writing because I am a little bit extra. So here's the thing. being mentioned in dispatch, it's published in the London Gazette, right? So your being in the dispatch is published in the London Gazette. So what I did was, and these are technically published in supplements to the London Gazette. So this here, hey everybody, am I a little bit extra? Yes, I am. So this here, I went and I was able to download a PDF of the London Gazette. Actually, I had to download a bunch. So I had to actually download a bunch of different PDFs of the London Gazette from different dates because I had to think of myself, okay, they were in London on these dates. These are the dates that the London Gazette comes out. I want to make sure it would have been a date that would probably been after they would have gotten the award because they're probably like backdated in certain ways. Like, what is the date that this would have happened that they could have put it in the London Gazette? And so I got a PDF of the London Gazette from the date that I thought it would have happened. And this is Tuesday, the 14th of October, which is the date I have to put on those. I have to change their certificates to make sure the date's correct. And so this here basically tells us everybody who's gotten an award, right? The King has graciously been pleased to approve the award of Victoria Cross to the undermentioned Sergeant John Daniel Hinton, New Zealand Military Forces. And I did a lot of research on exactly how all this would sort of be listed. So this is the actual PDF, right? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? I feel like you're not. Right, so here's like and I had, one of the reasons I had to find the right date, this is actually why I had to find the right date. I had to find a date of the supplement to the London Gazette that had what I actually needed in it, which was references to, you'll see what you will see. All right, so here's the War Office, the regular army, this person here, right, who gets the, you know, what awards they've gotten, right? This person just got promoted to the rank of Major General. This person is granted the rank of Honorable Brigadier, right? So Royal Regiment of the Artillery, the Infantry, regular Army Reserve and officers, right? So this is all the people who've been awarded or promoted, right? Royal Medical Corps, Pioneer Corps, Supplementary Reserve of Officers, regular Army, Foot Guards, Infantry, blah, 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 blah. These are all the people who've been given these awards. And this is why I had to pick this particular one. So here's the Army Dental Corps, Pioneer Corps, Intelligence Corps, Women's Forces. Yeah, they published all this in the paper. The Women's Forces, Auxiliary Territorial Service, Miss Margaret Frances Byford. I had to figure out what this number was. I figured out what that number was, and then I figured out what number I should be giving people. To be the second sub, 30th May 1941, with seniority and precedence, 27th October 1940. Next below, Miss S.M. Cameron Smith. Miss Doris Asher, a 193885, to be junior commander, 7th October 1941, with seniority and precedence, 1st September 1941. Next below, Miss Marjorie Marie Keynes, 205998. Junior Commander A.M.A. Woods, 192794, relinquishes her commission, 1st October 1941. Women's Auxiliary Air Force. The under-mentioned are appointed Assistant Section Officers, 7th October 1941. Miss Regina Krause, 880554. Sergeant Miss Jessie Glennie Crosby, 88143. Mentioned in dispatches, Junior Commander Doris Asher, Auxiliary Territorial Service, Assistant Section Officer Regina Krause, Women's Auxiliary Air Force, Sergeant Mrs. Ruth Lewis, Women's Auxiliary Air Force. And then a little note, hey Doris, look, it's you and your pal Regina, Billy. They haven't seen this yet, by the way. The players haven't seen this yet. The players haven't seen it yet. They haven't seen it yet. I went and did a lot of work to match fonts so that I could copy paste in our PCs into the actual the PDF of the actual London Gazette dispatches. And I had to like, yeah, right. And I had to like, the reason why there was like details, I was like, okay, hold on. I needed one of the supplements that actually had the Women's Forces in it already, so that I could then, because like not everyone did have the Women's Forces, not everyone had the forces that I needed, like, cause I needed the Territorial Service and the Women's Auxiliary Air Force. So I needed one of the ones that was late enough that it would have the dates for the commissions that I needed that would be for the players. I needed one that had the Women's Forces in it already, so that I didn't have to do so I could just actually just paste a name in. I needed to figure out what those numbers were by people's names and figure out exactly how the promotion system happened in the British military in the 1940s, which involved doing a lot of reading about actually Pakistan, and figuring out exactly what all those things meant so I could actually make sure that it worked well. And here it is. Hey, Anarch Devi, how are you? Your turn, my turn says, this is a work of art for real. Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is the one. This is the one. And I have done it, by the way. I have not given it to Dot or PB yet because I wanted to give the citation cards. I just have to finish that. I finish that and then I can send this to them. And then this is off my plate and I will be really happy for that. But that is one of the, like, so when I have the time to do what I want to do the way I want to do it, like for real, when I can really go all out for my players, that's the kind of thing that I do. When I can do the things that I want to do for my players, I'll do things like that. Yeah, basically, your turn, my turn. They're not exactly service IDs, actually. I'm well beyond amazed at all that we managed to do. Thank you. I just need to do, and for me, the reason why I haven't sent this off yet is because I really want to do the citation cards, because the citation cards are really the most important thing, because the citation cards is when your superior officer says, this person should be awarded an award, and this is why. And I really want Regina to see the citation card that Falstaff wrote for her, and I want Doris to see the citation card that Vera Atkins wrote for her. So I have to write those citation cards. The only thing that's been holding me up is not the text of it, it's just getting the formatting right, because I want to get the actual right forms. And I think I found them, and I think I have them tabbed, so I just have to finish it up, and then we'll be good. Oh, I've got an hour before banter time. Oh, thank you. Anarch TV says, I'm okay working out my own game, my own head, yet have yet to put stuff on paper. One of the ideas I want to try it is take out all the attributes and just use skills. I believe Fate doesn't have attributes. Fate's just has skills. It has aspects, which is a little bit different. I think there are a couple other games that might be like that. Jer says, the amount of players you have now, you could almost build a West March campaign out of the campaign. Hey, I'm glad to have the players that I have because they are useful. Although I don't think I'm a West March GM, because you don't even really need a GM for West Marches, really, right? Just players. You could just do, I mean, really, if you wanted to, you could do a West March campaign, just text base. But I would say that West killed her father in commendable fashion. I would just say that I think that West March campaigns do not jive well with my GM style, because with a West March campaign, you never know who's going to be a player at any given day, right? Because like if you don't know, yeah, and there are West March campaigns with multiple GMs too, because if for those of you who don't know, by the way, let's talk about the Gorgon job.
Sure.
How are you feeling about the job?
Right now, I'm feeling like a canid following a trail of treats. Like I'm being misled at best. At worst, walking into a trap. Keep those eyes open, Captain.
Yeah, I totally need to have Nyoka on this team with me, because clearly...
Hey, Cap.
Yeah. We're going to talk to everybody, and then we're going to go to this mission. All right, so... Gosh, apparently I need food again all of a sudden. We're going to just go and talk to all the people. West March's campaign, don't let me forget that I do want to talk about that for a second. West March's campaign.
Something on your mind?
Yeah, let's talk about the Gorgon job.
If there's one thing you could say about Lucky Montoya, he was always at the center of a story. Guess this is fitting.
So, point is, when I have all the time in the world, I make props. If this were in real life, I'd have those things printed out so they had hard copies of them. But unfortunately, it's not real life. It's fine. But I'm going to give them those, and I want to give them the citations because, you know, when I was in the military, those citations meant a lot to me. And I think they'll mean a lot to them. So I want to make sure that they have them. And I want to make sure I can give little things to, I want to make sure I can give little things to everybody. Because, you know, I just care about my players so much. Like, one thing that makes me worried about not having attributes is how to work out stuff like how strong, fast, or how much health my character has. But you don't necessarily need to know those things, Anarch W. So, for example, Fate does not have attributes. They have skills, stunts, and aspects are just descriptors. Like, you know, like SOE trained smuggler. like that's an aspect. It's not an attribute like strength, whatever. You don't need to know those things. If you wanted to, you could have an aspect that says, you know, fast like lightning, which means that you can then invoke to be faster if you want to. But like, you don't necessarily even need to know, like, your RPGs don't have to have those things. Those don't necessarily have to be things that you need to have in an RPG at all. Like that, you just don't need to have attributes if you don't want. Fate doesn't. Warp doesn't have attributes. Warp also has aspect. I was thinking more multiple groups working in the same world so much as so Jer, technically West Marches are drop-in, drop-out campaigns. That's why they're so great, because anyone can just show up whenever they wanted to, right? So in like the way that the West Marches campaign was originally described by whoever did it, he was like, I've got so many players and like attendance is a problem. And so basically what the guy did was he said, I'll just show up on Friday, and whoever wants to show up and play on Friday can just show up, and we'll just do whatever happens, right? So you have the big world and people just show up or they don't. So, little Timmy might be there on Friday, but then next Friday little Timmy might not be there. And you just kind of just run with whoever shows up. Drop in and drop out is often referred to as open table now too. Yeah, and so like the idea of the West Marches is like, like no prep, big sandbox with sort of like whomever.
Sure, like Ada said, he was a big name among freelancers. I met him at Lost Hope once. He was buying rounds for everyone and telling a story about one of his jobs. Pretty sure half of it was made up.
Oh, so Jer, have people changed West Marches to be from that original concept, like what, just 2-3 years ago, just to mean a sandbox game with multiple players? Because then you could just say a sandbox game with multiple players. But personally, for the kind of for the kind of style of game that I run, I would never run a West Marches campaign ever. Would never do it. Yeah, that seems the way that the original person described it, right? A kind of a game where people can just basically just drop in and out when they need to, seems like my nightmare, actually. And that might seem like very extreme, but for real, like when I was people have asked, what is the difference between streaming online or offline? Is there a difference between the games? And generally speaking, the answer is no. There's not a huge difference between my online life and my offline life. Why do you say that?
You ever get the feeling someone's just trying too hard?
Oh, no. For streaming, it would be fine. Actually, I think for streaming, it would be super easy because you just have like a stable of, yeah, I think for streaming, it would be easy. The way you would do it if it were me. Because actually, I think 4 was doing a West Marches mouse guard game streamed. I think that 4 did that. So what you do, you have a stable of like, you get like, Baron Tor likes it. It doesn't mean no prep, but it's definitely lower. Yeah, I think that what you would do is you have a stable of like 20 players, and then you just say, hey, first 5 who sort of want to be on the game on Friday, you come to the game on Friday, and then you just start the game and you stream it. And you just have to, all you would do is have a big enough group of players, and then just the first 5 people who want to play on that Friday come in, and if somebody doesn't want to play, they don't play. If they do, they do. Whatever. You just like, all you would probably have to do is just manage signups. But for a streaming game, it would work fine. You would never have to cancel because you would always have players, right? There's always a game. Who's on it doesn't really matter, right? But for me, for the kind of, so I'll say,
I'm gonna ignore that bit of subtext, Captain. There was just something about Montoya I couldn't quite trust.
Okay.
He was always the center of a room, and he slapped a lot of backs to stay there.
You think he was all talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to say that if he screwed this job up, that's on him. I still like our odds. He may have had a rep, but you're more capable than he ever was.
Wow. Only because I've got a great crew at my side.
Yeah, well, just remember that when we get paid. What's on your mind?
Any idea what happened to Lucky?
From his arm? The decay makes it hard to tell. Could be a lot of things. Torn off by something with big teeth, torn off by something with big claws, torn off by someone with a moderately sharp blade. Or maybe he just got too close to heavy machinery.
Enough about Gorgon.
Sure. Something on your mind?
Nope, I'm leaving. But I'm getting all the details. Okay, I'm gonna talk to the Vicar Max for a moment as well. I think PB did something like that for Gone, but it was PB deciding who was on any particular day as opposed to whoever showed up. That was Jared. Barentor says, the big thing with West Marches is finding a common, fairly repeatable activity for the characters to do that fits the setting can also be completed in a session. Yeah, it's very serial, drop in, drop out. Your turn, my turn says, we just saw a great example of how you create this bespoke experience for players. That would be so hard with 20 players. Another point I'm going to get through. Barentor says, for Ben Robbins and the original West Marches game, it was dungeon adventure stuff for D&D. Yeah, right. It's just like a way to kind of do a...
As always, I am at your disposal.
So,
anything you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, so I have said before that there's not much of a difference between how I run on stream versus how I run off stream. And that is for the most part true, but there is one thing that I just thought about now, which is a big difference, which is one of the reasons why I'm not really a West Marches GM. Even though I'd be happy to run a campaign with lots of people, it just wouldn't be a West Marches campaign. It is this. So I'll do props, right? And now that I've got lots of cool hats by running offline, I would totally do hats. Because that's exciting. Props. I think the big difference between streaming online, like the minor difference between streaming online or off, is that if it's offline, I can do physical props, and I have done some exciting physical props in the past. And if it's online, I can't do physical props, which is, life. If it is online, I get to do more music, right, through Roll20. There's some atmospheric stuff that I can do a bit more easier, but all those things are small. The big difference is when I'm offline, if people can't make it, I cancel the game. Because I am generally very, very, the way I run is very character driven and character centered. So the campaigns that I run, when I get to run in my ideal play style. In my ideal play style, if somebody can't make it, and if there is a way for me to sideline that character believably, then we will, but if there is not, I won't. If there's no way for me to sideline that character believably, we just cancel the game. Because my campaigns are so character driven and so character focused that losing a character might just make it that it's better just not to play that week. So I will cancel a game if I can't get a player who has to be there. I will also note that I still run in seasons offline. I'll still do we're going to do 15 sessions and here are the dates and can everybody make it? And so I don't tend to get people dropping out of campaigns. Missing. I don't tend to get people who miss sessions. So I don't tend to have to cancel. But if we're heading towards an important moment and somebody can't make it, I will just cancel the game because the game is the characters. The characters are the game. It is basically my preferred approach is the exact opposite of a West Marches campaign, is the best way I can put it, right? What I spend, I'm technically running a campaign with 10 people right now. Yeah, totally. And I'm fine with running things with lots of people. That's not a big deal for me at all. But the West Marches idea of having one repeatable action that you just do over and over again and anybody can come in and out at any time is the exact opposite of how I run my games when I'm running in my preferred style. Right? In my preferred style, I spend hours just thinking about each individual character, where they are, what their background is, who they are, what they're thinking, their relationship to all the NPCs, everything around them. And I make sure that the experience that happens at the table is focused on those characters. And a campaign, an open table campaign where anybody could come in and out, and what you're doing is that is just the opposite of my preferred GMing style. Could I run a West Marches campaign? I could, right? And would I do one as an experiment, as a way to sort of hone my GM skills? Sure. Would I enjoy it? Probably not. But I don't do things to enjoy them. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I enjoy things, that's great, but my main goal is not my enjoyment, is basically, like, I will say that. Like, I do all sorts of things that I don't enjoy all the time, because I just don't think that that's, like, the main thing I should be paying attention to. I pay attention to other things. Like that, I just don't center my enjoyment. I center lots and lots of things. But, like, my personal enjoyment is not the end-all be-all of my life. And RW says, like, I have a base idea how my game's main resolution mechanic works. Basically, you have a base score and add 2d10. And if it is normal, non-contested task, you compare it against a difficulty class of 16 for normal success, 13 minor success. This is for 60-80% success rate because it feels more fair for the human brain than an actual literal 50%. I just think for me, I think whatever you want to do percentage-wise, just make sure that people know what it is. PH says, we had a session with a player down today. Her character was unconscious for most of it, but at the end we had to pick her up to travel. And then we encountered things in her expertise, so we talked to her. The GM had to reveal aspects of her backstory. It was a little odd. Yeah. Jer says, I'm the same way with games, Trooper. Krellin says, when you said I don't do things to enjoy them, my brain thought the Black Experience. Yeah, I mean, if I enjoy, like, I don't need to suffer, right? I'm not like, I need to suffer. Like, if I enjoy things, that's great, but I don't always do things for my own personal enjoyment. Barantor says, you have some similarities with West Marches and Kolos as far as a large group of characters that don't always play and a single base of operations shared between all characters. I would say no, because it's not necessarily a repeatable activity that anyone can just drop in or out of. Yeah, I mean, at least when I was reading, right, Robbins' sort of description of it, like, that's a very serial experience. I'm going for, that's a very sort of episodic experience. I'm going for a more serial experience, like a serial story. And pause. What is your take on this whole Gorgon business?
Perhaps it's just my judicious nature, but I think we should be careful if we're following up on this lucky fellow's message.
Why do you say that?
I've always felt caution as the best approach when one has delivered a message attached to a severed limb.
Yeah, noted. But what do you think of what he was saying?
He sounded lost, perhaps slightly untethered from reality. A feeling I know all too well.
Wow.
It doesn't strike me as a setup, but I still advise caution.
Okay, so you think we should look into it?
Why not? It is what we do, isn't it?
All right, well, let's talk about something else.
Yes, you caught me ruminating again.
It's fine.
Guilty as charged. What's occupying your thoughts?
Nothing. Nice to chat with you. So I think, so I was in that, I've talked about that, Call of Cthulhu campaign.
Analysis. 2.
We're good. That Call of Cthulhu campaign that I was in, that had like 25, 30 players, that is still running to this day, that has been running since like 1980-ish. Yeah, like 1980 something or other. It's been going on since that time. And it's this big, like, you know, and there's like 30 characters. I need to go to not Gorgon, right? This is where I need to go. Yes, let's fast travel there. Ambrose Manor? Yes. We're going there. Krellin says, a prime difference is the ancillary characters come to play when Trooper chooses, not when they choose. That is true, yes, and usually for a purpose, and that is a big difference, actually.
Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance?
But even if, thank you, but then, Anarctivity says, humans are just bad at percentages and chances. Humans like patterns. That is why music players' randomization modes aren't actually random. If it was, there'd be a chance of repeats multiple times in a row.
Do return in one piece.
For me, for me, Anarctivity, it's about, well, you know, Anarctivity. I'm going to say, by the way, we're going to take Nyoka and Felix with us. So the thing is, maybe, Anarctivity, you don't have to have randomization at all. There are so many systems wherein players just get what they want and they don't have to roll for it. They just get what they want. Like, and you can do that. Or you can have a system where, I mean, you have to decide what kind of experience you want the players to have. And I know that right now we're in kind of like a no-fail experience is kind of like the trend right now, where players just don't fail unless they want to, or you succeed as long as you have a resource. And then when you run out of the resource, then you've got other, issues. So, like you could have, like you don't have to have attributes. There are a number of games that don't have attributes. You don't even have to have randomization if you don't want. So a lot of options. So this Call of Cthulhu campaign, which had like 25 players and like 30 characters, which was a big open world, really sandboxy, super sandboxy, and 5 to 6 different groups playing at any given time. But it was not a West Marches campaign because it was not a situation where it was not an open table, didn't come in or come out. It also wasn't episodic in that there was the same activity that you did over and over again, like just crawling through a dungeon. It was a big, long serial campaign epic that is still going, that like spanned decades in real time. And all the groups were set groups. Like I was in the New York group, then I was in the Hollywood group, and then I was in the Islanders group, my character. But like you have fixed groups, and the fixed groups meet regularly. We had to sign up if we wanted to get a session to play. It was not episodic. Kolos doesn't really have a bunch of players. As a core group, 4 players, and then guests who are essentially playing NPCs. Yes, Baron Tor, correct. It was more of a living campaign, right? And I feel like there's a difference between a living campaign and a West Marches campaign. I feel like just they're kind of different. Krillin, it's interesting. It's interesting about whether this is like a really fascinating thing about whether or not the guests are playing NPCs. That is such a fascinating question. And my answer is, because in some ways I'm going to tell you a thing, and it is that I don't think of them as NPCs, but they're not NPCs. I mean, they aren't. Like, I think of, they're not NPCs, but they're not NPCs, if that makes any sense, in the sense that they're sort of NPCs. Depends on who they are. Doris is a hybrid, but I also think of Doris as belonging to PB, and I will ask PB questions nowadays. Like, now that PB has played Doris, I'll be like, hey, PB, is there anything I need to know? And I don't, but because they interact with Doris a lot more often, she's a bit more of a hybrid. But I didn't really think of either Frida or Friedrich as NPCs, nor Jax. I don't tend to think of them as NPCs. However, I also recognize that as guests, they tend to serve slightly more specific functions. But for the most part, I also don't make their characters for them or tell them who to. Yine, Doris was a pre-existing character, as was Friedrich was a pre-existing character. Is that true? No, it's not true. No, Josh made that character as well. So in many ways, the players who are guesting in, the guests, they make their characters. The only exception. The only exception was Doris, and Mama Tango were the only exceptions where there were characters that existed before the players. Doris and Mama Tango were the only characters who I said, "Hey, guest, would you play these specific characters? Would you do that, please, for me?"
Captain.
And everybody else made their own characters from scratch, and I integrated them. So I kind of don't think of them as NPCs, because at any time they could become PCs. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the same way that I don't think of, but we do have a core 4. Like, we do have a core 4, and then we have, PH says it's easier to separate them into protagonist and supporting cast. And they're guest characters, yeah. Like they're guest characters, I think. Krellin says, I assume you're setting goals for them, but letting the players pick the path. Actually, no. That's interesting.
Welcome to Ambrose Manor.
Sure, thanks.
We were not expecting company.
Oh.
Please follow. Do not stray from the path.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Oh, okay.
You gotta admit, that was kind of funny.
Oh.
Been there, little guy.
Oh, okay. Well then. Actually, I don't even necessarily pick goals for them either. I tend to really let players do what they want to do. It kind of depends on who we're talking about. Yeah, often I don't. Like, so for example, I'll give them a setup. I'll give them like, here's the context of what you need to know. But from there, I often don't give them goals either. I kind of want them to do what they want to do. Let's check out Drinks the Butler. How are you doing, Drinks? You're not doing well. You're not doing well at all. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I'm trying to think, have I ever given them specific goals? Let me think. No, usually I give them setups.
Wow.
Right?
Ambrose Manor.
Ooh.
Hey, you think it's haunted?
I don't know, but it's beautiful.
I bet it's haunted.
Keep your guard up. Could be all manner of surprises in there.
Interesting. Yeah, I really tend to give players a lot of agency, even if they're guests. Mostly, what I tend to do is give them the setup, right? And by that I mean, NRTV. It depends. It depends. My preferred style of GMing, when I get to do what I want to do, is a character-driven sandbox. But I also recognize that sandboxes are not particularly popular, and many players don't like them. They may think they like them, but they don't like them, nor do they have the skills to play in sandboxes. And I also know that many people believe that you cannot actually do sandboxes on streams, that streams are not, that sandboxes are bad for streams. So there's like a lot of negative commentary about sandboxes. So I wouldn't necessarily insist on a sandbox, because I just realized there's a bunch of stuff down here we didn't explore, and we have to do that first. So yeah, with Colas, the events are a matter of history, so it's got some boundaries. Although that history can change, you know, like I'm very aware that history can certainly change. Maybe not necessarily for the better, but it certainly can. We're gonna check that out in a second. Many find that intimidate too much agency. Krellin says, proactive playing is a skill that is often underdeveloped. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is look. Proactive playing is a skill that is very underdeveloped. It is also not an easy skill. It is also not necessarily intuitive. Because traditional RPGs put the onus of direction on the GM. That is correct.
Looks like we're doing this.
Hi. Okay, well, oh, I should probably eat some food, right? I should probably eat the food. Also, what's going on with Nyoka right now? We're gonna eat food. Yeah, and actually, it's a lot of there's actually a whole set of skills that are involved in doing a sandbox and, you know, actually running a sandbox as a player, that people just don't develop those skills, and they are. We're gonna have this purple berry punch. What is this? Spacer's Chaw. Oh, nicotine. Weapon sway. Yeah, no, we're gonna just have purple berry punch from Rizzo's. That's what we're gonna have. Okay. Oh, that's what was going on. I was stuck. Interesting. Let's see. You need players that talk to each other a lot and construct your sandboxes. Otherwise, you get stuck. But it's even more than just that. Like you need, you need a lot of things actually. Many things, a bunch of things that are not actually encouraged in traditional RPGs for a lot of reasons, and also it's a lot of responsibility that maybe players don't want to have. They don't want to actually do that. They just want. I was just talking to Dot about this the other day, actually. Wait, I don't have the lock picking. Dang it. Dang it. I should have improved my lock picking by 1. I wonder if having a group that is all GMs makes it better or worse when trying to sandbox. Ooh, I have found the sandboxes work better in all GM groups. generally speaking, so far at least. All you need is PCs with goals and ideas how to achieve them within the world that's been built. See, here's the thing about that, PH. Shouldn't put all your points in handguns. I know. The thing is, here's the thing, PH, about that. It is quite difficult. That is not a skill that many... So actually making player-driven goals is a skill that a lot of players have not developed. Because they've not been encouraged to. That is a skill that is learnable, but that is not a skill that many players have developed. I think that's... Barentor says, yeah, but the players in a sandbox have to be willing to do things outside of the game more than a lot of players want to invest. And even if they don't do... you can run a sandbox where you don't do any prep outside of game. That is totally doable. But you actually have to make a character who has goals. You have to have goals, and you have to be willing to proactively seek out those goals. And those are not... Okay, look. I'm going to tell you. And what I'm going to tell you is not an insult to anyone at all. This is not an insult. PH says, I think I do well with making my characters have aspirations. But a lot of players don't, and not really. And I will tell you a thing about this. Jer says, I think most people would be lost in an unguided sandbox. That is to say, drop players in a world with no knowledge. There are also guided sandboxes, however, where the GM might drop possible threads of information on a world a character might chew on. Yes, but even then, a lot of players are not used to picking up those threads. And so, you just actually have to do a lot of work. You have to teach skills if you want players. And I'll tell you this because I've taught those skills quite often, over and over again. You have to do it in certain, you have to teach skills. But for the same reason, it's why some folks don't like Minecraft or video games that they don't like not having goals given to them, right? And I do want to say this. This is something that I want to say, I want to note this, that if you are from a traditional, let's say a traditional, robot butler named Drinks. If you are used to playing, let's say D&D in a very traditional way, I find that D&D players who play in a very traditional way are often real bad at sandboxes. But first off, what I will say, I don't think it's a matter of being given goals. Subnautica is a great example of earning goals. So what I would say though is that, and this is something that I actually think is actually quite important, that players who are sort of traditional D&D players who do a lot of say modules, players who do a lot of D&D modules, they have skills that are... They have other skills that nobody acknowledges as being interesting, is what I'm going to say. So there are a set of skills to be a really good sandbox player, and there's a set of skills to be a really good module player. And nobody sort of talks about, really people don't talk about player skills. This is what I'm going to say. We get all these GM tips all the time on how to be a better GM, how to be a better GM. And then the player tips are few and far between and not thoughtful enough in my mind, and really don't think about player skills. They might talk about how to do a funny voice, but actually there are a lot of really important skills, player skills that nobody talks about, frustratingly. And module players have a set of really important skills that nobody talks about that are just as valuable and interesting as sandbox skills. They're just different skills. Wizard Style says, there's a focus on backstory, even in the discussion of how to build characters, which is backwards facing and mainly gives the GM things in the character's past to bring up. But this depends on what games you played first. If you've gotten to the hobby through games that aren't as GM-centric as D&D, you probably picked up more cooperative storytelling instincts. But here's the thing, interesting, Wizard Styles. You could do cooperative storytelling and not be good at sandboxes. Actually, I think that some of the people who are the population that is super into cooperative storytelling at this moment are all narrativists, and they are really bad in sandboxes. Narrativist players are not good with sandboxes, and they often don't like them. And I've been thinking about this a lot, actually, and actually a whole lot, about the ways in which I need to GM differently. Because I just had my new, I think I've alluded to this recently, right? I just had my new revelation about my GMing style and the ways in which it's bad for narrativists, and that if I want to be better for narrativists, I have to do different things. because narrativists, all those collective storytelling people who are narrativists are not great in sandboxes. And they often don't enjoy sandboxes because sandboxes do not give them the experience that they want. They don't want a sandbox, they want a story, right? They might want to co-create that story, but they don't want a sandbox. So you have to, like, if I know that I have a bunch of narrativist players, I don't really sandbox it. It might be sandbox adjacent, but I don't really sandbox it because I know that's not going to really make them happy. You know what I mean? Player tips: show up on time, bring snacks. Yes, Gabinak. Krellin says D&D players are really good at not breaking things. This is true, which is actually a very good skill. Subnautica is Subnautica really a sandbox? It certainly has an open world, but it does have a set narrative. I was having a conversation about this actually as well. Oh, I love this conversation. Oh my gosh, people, why did you do this to me? Because this is a conversation I'm really excited about having, which makes me happy. Krellin says a valuable module skill is keeping on task within constraints and being creative within those constraints. Yes, I would say 100%, Krellin, that one of the skill sets that make a really good module player is keeping on task within constraints in a creative and fun and fresh way that doesn't seem boring. Another thing that's a really important skill, and this is one of the reasons why I think traditional module players end up having a hard time with sandboxes, is that one of the most subtle skills that you develop as a module player or a Rails player, right? Or a roller coaster player is picking up on subtle clues of what the GM wants you to do and then following through on those clues, right? A really good module player is very focused on picking up what the GM is putting down and then doing what the GM wants you to do, but in a fun and cool way. And if you have been trained to basically try to figure out what the GM and or module wants you to do and then do it, you sometimes fall apart in a sandbox because that's just not there anymore. And you have spent years honing the skill of being able to pick up subtly what the GM wants you to do and then doing it, that once you get into a sandbox, it can just ruin you in the same way that a really heavy sandbox player is sometimes really not good in a module. PH says, I struggled as a player with a scene today where an NPC was aggressive towards me and the other players were trying to calm the NPC down, but I wanted to goad him into attacking me, so I had an excuse to fight him. We couldn't all get what we wanted, so I didn't commit to my course so the others could be happy talking the NPC down. Right? And this is, of course, also PH, where you could just stop, because this is how narrativists would have no problem just stopping the scene and being like, hey, everybody, let's have an out-of-character conversation about what we all want, and then you can just have a conversation about what you all want as a story. All right? And that is a thing that narrativist players are more likely to do. They'd be like, hey, let's quit the scene. So I want this to happen for these reasons. What do you all want to happen? Let's decide out of game what we want to happen, and then we'll just do it. Right? That's a thing. Snorbin Boss says, Subnautica counts as a sandbox because there's no actual penalty for ignoring the plot. In fact, once you've cleared a certain point, you can just putter about doing whatever you like. Oh, that's interesting. Baron says, being able to help the train move down the rails without letting the rails bog them down. Yeah. And so for me, look, I have to tell you, I've been thinking about this a lot recently. Too much. And I also need to make videos about it. But I think, and this is really important for me, like I really want to praise Rails players, because I think that we talk smack about Rails all the time, and I don't think that we sort of acknowledge the skills and work that go into being a really good Rails player and helping to make a great experience, because that's not easy to do, and it's like really cool. If you've ever run a Rails game, which I have, I've run modules. If you've ever run those games, you know the difference between a player who's really good at modules games and those who are not. And like people who are not good at modules games can make your life so terrible as a GM in a different way than, right? But like that can be really, really unfun when you have somebody whose entire stated goal is to ruin everything, which is what like, so, oh gosh, oh my gosh, right? Like just, Your Turn, My Turn says, it's like the difference between solving a crossword and creating a constructivist poem that looks like a crossword. That's true. So, do you know what I think it's like? This is what I think it's like. Here's my analogy so, okay, we're gonna have to think about plot too, right? Because I think this is actually really fascinating. what is a plot? What is a story? And I know this sounds super weird, right? But for example, in Kolos, oh gosh, I have more than one thing I want to say at the same time, but I only have one mouth. Stop. I'm going to go back to plot later. I'm going to finish this thought about skills. So this is what I'm going to tell you. I think a really good Rails player, a really good module player, we'll call it, or a whatever, a really good plot player, we'll call it, because I want to have, like, Rails seems so judgy, I don't like that word. I don't think of it as a negative thing, but a really good player like that, I think, running modules made me develop an intense dislike of is what my character would do. I would say Wizard Styles, make a character. This is why, oh gosh, Wizard Styles, I had another thought. I say no a lot as a GM in character creation, but let me finish this thought. So for me, a module player, a really good module player, or a plot player, right, whatever we want to do it, I don't know what we want to call them yet, is like a social dancer, right? If you are really, really good at this, it's like you have been, you know how to Lindy Hop or tango or foxtrot or merengue, salsa, bachata. You know how to do that really well. Those dances have set steps and there is a lead and follow. And it's like, if you can do that, you're a really good follow. And if you've ever danced a social dance with a really good follow, they're amazing. So to be a really good follow, you need to know the steps, right? You can't do a waltz if you don't know the steps. So you need to know the steps. But if you're doing a Lindy Hop, you know the steps, yes, but a really, really good follow is able to pick up on the subtle cues that the lead gives. Like, if I'm leading the dance, I will put, right? I will use my hand, like my right hand, underneath the shoulder blade if I'm doing a traditional frame, and putting pressure, sometimes very subtle, because I personally like to be a kind of a light touch as a follow. I don't like to manhandle people. I like to give the follow lots of agency, but like very subtle pressure on the shoulder blade, or just a very subtle little push with my hand. Or like if I'm doing a spin, like that I want you to keep spinning because I keep my hand here, and that I want you to come out of the spin when I just changed my hand position. Some of these things are really, really subtle, and a really good follow is able to pick up on these really subtle body movements and then see them happening, anticipate them, and then do what they're going to do. And a really good follow has got improv and styling and knows how to do the steps, but will also do a kick here that you didn't expect, and will do this like cool thing, and will like make the dance fun and amazing and awesome. And I remember I was, hey Triffid E Mats, if you front load your nose in character, you use, yes, Krellin. I front load my nose in character duration, so I don't have to say no once the game starts, for the most part, right? Wizard Style says, yeah, I learned to tell players they need to either make a fitting character or do we open developing the character. Yes. A lot who went to dance class don't know the steps of dances. Yes, that's why I said a good follow. And this is actually true. Like, I will just say no to characters that don't fit the campaign. I'll say, here's the campaign concept. Do you want to play in this campaign concept? And if you say yes, then you have to make a character that fits in the campaign concept, and I will just say no. I am the mean, evil GM that will say, no, you cannot play that character. You either, like, unless I trust you and I know that you can make that character work, but if you make a character that does not fit, I'm just gonna say no, because once I start the campaign, you can do whatever you want. Do you know what I mean? And so I'm just gonna ask you to make an appropriate character so that then we're all good, right? Whereas, no is a very important GM tool. It is indeed. But also this is also important because once the character's made, you do what you want to do. You develop how you want to do. Like, I really leave things open to the players. But anyway, dancing, right? So I was over in LA, and I went to go swing dancing once. And the thing is, the swing dancing scene in LA uses the Hollywood style Lindy Hop versus the Savoy style Lindy Hop. It's a very different posture. It's a different posture, different. Like they're different. They feel very different to dance. And Hollywood style. I don't particularly like Hollywood style. Like, Hollywood style is very impressive looking, but it's a little bit too manhandly for my personal taste as a as a lead. So I was down over there at this dance in SoCal, and everybody was doing Hollywood style, and I was doing it, and I was like, I'm not enjoying this. It's like whatever. And I saw this one woman, and I was like, I just saw her dance Savoy style. And I was like, oh, I need to ask her to dance. And the person I was standing was like, oh no, you can't ask her to dance. So I was like, why not? And they're like, oh, but she's standing in that one corner of the ballroom where all the cool kids dance. So like it's Cat's Corner. So you can't talk to them. I was like, what are you guys doing in Southern California? In Northern California, we can ask anybody to dance, whatever. So I walked over to her. I was like, hey, could I ask you to dance? I see that you do Savoy style. Could we have a dance? And she's like, sure. So I had this dance with her, and it was the funnest dance I've ever had. When I do Savoy style leading, which if you don't know swing dance, it's like an 8 count. And for Savoy style, like the first half-ish, for Savoy style, it's the way that I was taught is a little bit less than the first half. It's you're in frame, and then the last half you're out of frame, and the follow can kind of do whatever they want. And the stuff that she did when she was out of frame was like exciting and cool and fun. And if I like led her to open up to the side, she'd open up to the side and do all this amazing stuff. We came back into frame. Maybe I would lead her to open up in this, like, she was amazing. As it turns out, she is an award-winning, internationally famous swing dancer and also tap dancer. And I did not know that because I did not know her. But I had this experience of dancing with one of the best follows probably in the world for swing dancing in the 90s or in the early aughts. And wow, that was amazing. And for me, that is what it's like to be a really good module player. If you're a really good module player, like you're really good, you can go through Curse of Strahd or Descent to Avernus or like, I don't know, whatever the thing is, the Mummy's Mask, whatever, and make it sing. You know what I mean? Like you can do that module and it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel stale. It doesn't feel constrained. It doesn't feel boring. It feels alive and fresh and cool and interesting and neat. And you put all that styling in and you make it really fun, but yet you don't just run around breaking things, right? Like you're able to dance the dance and do the steps, but in a fun and exciting and cool way. And I'll tell you what, that is a skill set. That is a skill set that a number of D&D players have, and they have it really, really well, but nobody acknowledges that as a skill, but it is a skill, and it's a great skill. And Wizard Styles knows what it's like when you play with players who do not have that skill, and you're trying to run a module, and you're like, why is this my life? Yeah, right? So like that's Moswolf, it was really good. That was a great dance. Snorpin Bass says, in my opinion, the best tool of a GM is not no, it's no but. Basically always give a counter offer. That way the player won't feel like they're being trodden on. But sometimes Snod and Bash, you have to trot on them. Like, I think this is the thing, I was thinking about this, I've been thinking about this a lot, actually. When you look at GM advice, and I just saw one again today, the GM advice is always never say no, always say yes. Yes and yes and yes and. That's the new hip sort of indie advice for all GMs all the time. And if you have to say no, you say no but basically still say yes. It's always about, for the GM, always saying yes. This is not advice that's given to players, by the way. It's almost always given to GMs because the modern indie scene kind of hates GMs and doesn't trust them and kind of thinks they're bad. Like there's a lot of really anti-GM vibe in the indie scene, the narrativist indie scene. And here's the thing. They won't... Snorpin Bass, I don't know if I want to play with players like that. Because that says to me there's an antagonistic relationship between the players and the GM. And I don't, like, there are a number of players who are like cool and hip that I don't want to play with because their feeling towards sharing and also GMs is not one that I find particularly healthy. But here's my ultimate point. This advice to yes and is almost never given to players. It's almost always given to GMs exclusively. And you cannot have true consent if you can't say no. We say that we care about consent, right? But if you're telling one person at the table, the GM, that they're basically never allowed to say no, how does that respect consent? That doesn't respect consent. And it sets up a very weird and creepy relationship between players and GMs, where GMs are not allowed to say no, which means their respect is not, their consent is not respected, which is part of the modern scene, I will say, in my opinion. There's a sort of a general feeling that GMs are like power-hungry, evil people that the players must be protected from. But that doesn't ever give the GM any space to like actually have their needs met. And I feel that's very unhealthy. it's like in an S&M situation where people think that safe words are only for the sub, but never for the Dom, as if tops can't also have boundaries that might be crossed, as if they can't also be like, oh, hey, wait, no, I want a safe word out of this. And so I worry about the ways in which GMs are basically not given space to withhold consent. That makes me worried a little bit. Barentor says, it strives to make the GM serve the players as a sort of punk attitude to the GM being an oppressive part of the game, yeah. Serpent Bass says, I've had both types of GM, the one that allowed everything and the one that only said no, hard no to everything. Neither worked very well, and the group split up very quickly. And that's the ultimate power of the player. If the player doesn't like it, they can just leave, right? If a GM is not giving the player what they want, the player always can leave, and that GM will not have players anymore. Like if the GM is a person who people do not enjoy playing with, they will not play with that GM, and that GM will not have players. Do you know what I mean? Wizard Style says, yeah, the yes and no but thing has become too much of a mantra. It is usually the right thing to do to keep the game moving, but if you don't set constraints, whatever they are, where is the game going? Also, sometimes you need to say no to one player for the good of players as a group. Yeah, and I'm gonna just say that this is almost always where my hard no's come in. My hard no's almost always come in because one player is doing something that is not going to be good for the group in a bad way. Because to tie on to Wizard Styles, I feel like, you know the bystander effect, right? The bystander effect, where if something bad is going on and there are a lot of people who are all standing by and no one does anything because everybody thinks somebody else's responsibility is to do the thing. If you're the GM, it's your responsibility to do the thing. So if somebody is like sexually harassing somebody at the table, ideally anybody would say something about it, but very often people will feel bystandery. And if you're the GM, it is your job to say a big old hard no to sexual harassment at your table. Not a no but a big old hard no. And there are players who will do unhealthy, disruptive, harmful, toxic things, and there's no but there. There's just a big old no. And then you can have a conversation later about it, but I think it's really important that the GM, for me, I feel like the GM has the responsibility to overcome the bystander effect. In an ideal world, everybody would take care of everybody at the table, but I understand that not everybody can or will, which means it's the GM's responsibility to make sure that everybody is safe at that table. And sometimes the only way to make sure that everybody's safe at that table is to give a big old hard no. And so I just think that's really important, right? Because here's the thing about no but. The X card is not a no but. The X card is a hard no. And we put on the space, we put out in the world that players are allowed to give a hard no whenever they want through an X card. But then we tell GMs that they can't say no. And that is, that feels like it can lead to abuse, right? Like abuse of GMs. And I understand that we frame GMs as the abuser and not the abused, and so therefore we don't care about GMs, but I do care about GMs, right? Especially because I care about GM burnout. I do. I think about that. And Anarchy's like, it's a two-way street. You need to meet in the middle. Wizard Saw says, yeah, it shouldn't be that way, but in-game roles bleed into out-of-game interactions. So if somebody needs to step up, it's usually the GM. Agreed. Yes. Rissa says, how important is having banjo time to you? Oh yeah, but I don't need like a half hour for the banjo, so I'll be good. I'm probably gonna do the banjo like in 15 or whatever. PH says the GM also gets to X card. Technically they do, in the same way that technically tops in an S&M scene can safe word, but the culture around it is that GMs that it's not for the GM, right? There's a lot of ways in which people think of the X card as to protect you from the GM or from other players, right? There's a way in which it's so often framed around the players, right? And I agree with you, PH. GMs absolutely can X card, but many people don't even imagine that they could, because in their mind, the GM controls everything, so why would they need to X card? They can just not have things that they don't want them. And that's also not true, right? Because GMs don't control the entire game, right? There are a whole bunch of players there. Snorpin Bass says, I think we're talking about two very different things. Actual player toxic actions aren't what I was referring to. I was talking about plot decisions by players, not players harassing other players or the likes. But I think but the problem is that when somebody says always say yes and, here's what I'll say, Snorpin Bass. I get that they're separate, except that really good toxic players who are really good at being toxic, are able to disguise their toxic behavior as player choice. right? Which I think somebody had mentioned earlier, like, that's just what my character would do, right? There are a lot of ways where plot decisions by players are actually just toxic behavior, but it's hidden under plot decisions. And that's also one of these moments where, no, you were talking about no but no but and yes and come together in the discourse, right? When you when you look at all the GM advice pages, like, hey GMs, say yes and. That's what you should say. But if you have to say no but, never just say no. There's a lot of GM advice on that sort of topic, and like the no but yes and almost always come together in GM advice videos and blogs and whatnot. Cosmic Demon Wolf says, that's what my character would do is the biggest red flag for me concerning fellow players. And the thing is, I am very much a that's what my character do kind of player. Like, I really am into that. It's just that don't make a character who's a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, yes, do what your character would do, but make a character that fits with the rest of the group and that fits with the campaign, so that the things that your character would do are things that are not disruptive. And then B, most people would do have more than one different thing that they can do, right? Like, if somebody walks up to me right now and says, Trooper, I hate your face, there's more than one reaction that I could do to that response. As an actual human being, there's not just one thing that I would do. There's like multiple responses that I could have. And then as a player, I pick the one that's more appropriate for the game. That's still being true to my character. It's just that you usually have a choice about what you're going to do, and maybe you can pick a choice that's still true to your character that doesn't make you a disruptive jerk. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Scabinex says, yeah, that's what my character would do, but also that doesn't mean I'm not responsible for making the character. Yes. Cosmic Demon Wolf says, you seem like you have a self-awareness and rapport with your players if you're jamming, or playing in a game that lets you know how they would react in certain situations. You pick the option, headbutt the jerk. It's important for me to, like, I mean, for me as a GM, that's what I really try to get to. I'm a character-focused GM, so I'm always interested in what the players are going to do, and who the characters are and what they're about and what the responses are. My whole goal in GMing is getting to understand the characters, getting to understand them really well, and helping the players understand their characters more. That's like, I just am not a narrativist GM at my core. I can do it, and I've run narrativist games where the whole point is the story. And I'm thinking about ways in which I can better serve narrativist players who care about the story more than the exploration, the endpoint, rather than the exploration. Working on that even more. But when I'm in my home style, plot is not what I do. I do character rather than plot. Plot is what happens as a byproduct of character, rather than there's a plot that then people do things with, or multiple plot options. Like, for me, in my home preferred style, what I'm doing is focusing on character and who the characters are. Are they who they think they are? Are they lying to themselves about who they are? Will they change and develop based on circumstances? And so, in my preferred sandbox character-directed style, simulationist style, plot is not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, okay, will Regina kill her father if she's asked to? Oh, wow, she did. Okay, what does that mean? All right, well, how will the prince deal with Nazis talking smack about British colonialism? That's interesting. How will the prince behave? I'm interested, right? So, like, for me, in my preferred style, what I'm doing is doing character exploration, right? Character simulation. That's what I'm doing in my preferred style. And so I'm not really doing plot, which is why that preferred style of mine is not good for narrativist players, because it's not going to be enjoyable for them. You know what I mean? And so, yes, which means your relationship to yes and no buts are different. But also, it's another thing too that, like, I don't function through plot when I'm doing my preferred style. If I'm doing other things than I am, like Fate of Cthulhu clearly is more plotted. Cthulhu Confidential is more plotted. I run things that are much more plotted, and I can do that, and I will do it because players like that. And if I have players who like that, then I will certainly do that, because that's your job at that moment. You give the players what they want. But if I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this game, it's going to be a different sort of a thing. Yeah. Snorp and Bass says, in my estimation, the hard no works best when all the players in GM are already very good friends. But most groups didn't used to be like that. People were often passing acquaintances, so hard no just meant the group was split up, and nobody learned anything from it. when you're talking very good friends playing together, a hard no works fine because nobody takes it personally. Oh, Summer Bass, that's so interesting. Let me read this. Groundskeeper's Journal, Volume 1, because I have interesting thoughts about that. Daily routine. Sweep the Tranquility Garden for Mrs. Olivia. Oil the fish for Mr. Harvey. Repeat. When they hired me as groundskeeper, I assumed there'd be grounds to keep. I'm not even allowed inside the manor. Everyone told me the Ambrose family keeps to themselves, but they're a bunch of hermits, save for the little one. I guess I'll have to find a hobby. Mr. Harvey dropped his keycard in the pond. I'll hold on to it in case he ever comes looking, but I won't go near the house. Wouldn't want to get between Miss Olivia and her research. Oh, interesting. Interesting. So this is really fascinating about the idea of friends. Like if you're better friends, you can like have harder no's, but if you're acquaintances, then you, right? And like past game styles and all of that. And this is so fascinating, Snorp and Bass, because I am a weirdo. I'm a weirdo. I do not play like normal folks. I'm a weirdo. Like I'm an outlier and all my stuff is like random and bad. It's fine. But what I would say is I prefer not to play with friends. I find that if you play with people who are not your friends, it's easier to do a hard no. For me, in my experience, and let me tell you, here's why I'm going to say this. You know the groups of people who always say they don't need X cards? It's people who are like, oh, but we're all friends. We're all friends. We know each other really well. We don't need X cards because we're all friends. We don't need safety tools because we're all friends, right? So like, I've seen a lot of people who are like, we're all friends, and so they don't feel like they actually need, and then they don't feel comfortable. What happens when the players who aren't your friends become your friends? That's fine. That's fine. Also, in my experience. Oh, I see. Yeah. I see. Oh, different ease. I think it really depends. Like, because for me, I like to play with people who are professionals first, for whom they think of this as something a bit more professional, because I feel like you can talk to professionals. If there's a problem, you can say, hey, fellow professional, there's a problem here. And then you can sort of like talk it out. Whereas sometimes I feel like people are less likely to call out their friends than they are to call out people that they're in a professional relationship with. Because, and like, I've just seen people just not say things because people are their friends. And I've seen people, does that mean we're not friends anymore? No, but we did not start as friends, Rissa. You can become my friend, but I like to start a professional space because I want to play with people because we are compatible games-wise, rather than because we're friends. And then if we become friends, it's cool. But my priority is compatible gamers first. It's true. Actually, I found Bill on the internet is what happened, but it's also, what is that arrow doing? Where's that arrow going? Oh, no, that's fine. We're going the right way. Does that mean we are friends? See, well, I have to know, like, I am very tricky about the term friend. I am very, very tricky about it in a way that is also not normal. Personally, I do not trust strangers when it comes to RPGs. Yeah, I know a lot of people, they're just like, no, I don't trust strangers. I've had too many bad experiences with friend groups where they were just really, really toxic, but nobody said anything because they were all friends. And I was like, yeah. Or also, strangers with references. And I think that, a lot of players would never play with strangers. And I think that's totally legit and valid. Friends get over... thank you, Prax. Friend does get overused a lot. You've met actual Nazis. I mean, I will tell you what, the people who have sexually assaulted my character in game were not strangers, is what I'm gonna say. I will note that. I'm gonna note that. And the people who, try to lynch my character in games, also not strangers. Sometimes people who are friends feel like they can, you know, you don't need X cards, and also you can do edgier things because we're all friends. And argue that would, well, but technically they were friends. You know, they were not strangers, let's put it that way. I don't think we've ever played a game together. Tell them how long we've been friends. We've been friends forever. That's what I'm trying to say. But I also notice, and this is a...
Take it back. Ain't nothing here but memories.
Oh.
This place looks kind of sad. Like it's been waiting for someone to make a home out of it.
Ooh. The other thing that I would say is that the word acquaintance, the known associate, and it's not the same as friend, acquaintance, yep. See, this is interesting because that would be the assumption that friends would never hurt you. And I don't know if that's true either. There are people who, I mean, like, there are people who are unhealthy friends, is I suppose what I would say. They're unhealthy friends. Unhealthy friendships, right? Toxic friendships. People who are friends of yours who are abusive. Like, friends can be abusive to each other. You know. But I think the other thing I would say about friends, yeah, some of the friends I know, some friends know just how to hurt you the deepest. Yeah. And some friends are, like, not great friends. This is the best way to put it. But I think the other thing, this is for me, like, we don't even talk about, like, actual abuse. But I think for me, one of the biggest things about playing with friends that has always been the problem for me about friends first, because I basically I go games first, friends second, and then rather than friends first, game second, is that a lot of people, because their priority is to play with their friends, play in games they don't enjoy. Because they're like, oh, this is my friend, but their friend may be their friend, but they are not compatible players, right? They're not compatible players. And that's a problem. You know what? I'm gonna exit out of that. I'm going to, right now, I'm gonna save this game. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna save the game. I'm gonna save the game. I feel like we are in game save mode because I'm gonna play the banjo. Oop, that's not it. It's here. Save game. There we go. Boom. Save yes. We're gonna come here. Go to main menu. Oop. Wrong button. There we go. Accept. Yes, 10 minutes. Here we go. Yeah, my home group kind of imploded as a result of being mildly toxic, but mostly incompatible playstyles. Yeah. Schnorp and Best, there's probably a language out there with 100 words for friend that we could use to fit better. I would agree. To me, friend doesn't include people who act abusive. Yeah. It's like going to a movie you're not interested in with a friend. It's just schematic, yeah. Save the game, save the world. Yes. NRK says, my personal experience with strangers scarred me to the point I just can't play with strangers. NRK, you don't have to. You never have to play with anybody you don't want to play with. And that is 100% legit. And I never say that anyone has to play with strangers. I mean, no one has to do anything they don't want to do. That is my position. Nobody has to do anything they don't want to do. And I feel very strongly about that. You know, you don't, like, at least for your personal life, you don't want to play with strangers? Don't play with strangers. Don't do it. That would be my take on that one. If you don't want to play with, don't ever play with anyone you don't want to play with. Those are my, like, big words there. And that's cool there. And we're going to quit out of that. Boom. And then I have to pull up the proper web pages. I have to find them before I can play anything on the banjo, because I have not downloaded the sheet music here. So I want to. What is this? Is this it? What is this? This is not it. This is just a place for some banjo chords. Hold on. Characters. Fate's Fifth Action. Nursery rhymes. Yeah, this is it. This is the one I wanted. Found it. Okay. see, what were you saying? Saving a game is the best. Sometimes I start a game just to save it. Totally get that, Starvin Bass. I've run games that I didn't enjoy because it wasn't the rule set I wanted to play, and I'm done doing that. Yeah, Barantor, NRW. Moswolf says, I mean, if these friends weren't acting like this until the game, then they would be friends, and then no longer friends. Everyone can surprise you. That is true. Trust issues with strangers in general. No, but again, that's totally legit. Like, you know. But I will say, in my experience, like most of my gaming life until more recently has been, and more recently, I mean for the last like decade or so, right? Has been playing games I did not enjoy because I was playing with friends. And I didn't enjoy the game. I had a miserable time. It was not fun for me because they wanted to play murder hobo dungeon crawls and I did not, but we were friends. And so we played games that I didn't want to play and that I did not enjoy because we were friends. Or there's that one person who's like a friend of yours, but they're not a good person to play with, but you have to include them because they're friends. And I was like, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. That is not how I'm going to put together groups anymore. And I won't. I will no longer do that. Like it was there was a moment where, and in some ways I think the big turn, but my army game, I'm going to pull out my banjo, by the way. Give me a second. Wait a second. I was going to play the banjo, right? At the end of the day. So I am. But I have to put my headphones on because I can't hear you. Although it's weird because I actually can't hear you anyway because you're not actually talking to me. But I feel like trust issues with strangers in general, says NRTV, but it may be because of my main experience is with the internet. Oh, maybe. So did you just put yourself in a more professional TRG community and go from there? You know what it was? It was learning to say no to things, actually. And that's saying no sometimes is super scary, especially to your friends, because you never want to say no. You know what I mean? Like, they're your friend. Ooh, hello. How are you? And the thing is, it was about the army group I was in was really that was like the army group was actually pretty good because the army group was, we came together not because we were friends. I mean, we became friends, of course, or not necessarily of course, but we became friends. But we came together because we were all in the same unit and we were all there to play games. Like, that's what we were there for. And there were people in that group that I was not friends with outside of the gaming group, but they were great to game with, and I loved gaming with them. But because the group was as it was, give me a second. We played so many different games. We played a lot of different things. It was such a great group. I really, really loved that group. But after that, I went to undergrad. Then I went to grad school in LA, and I got in with Rissa, who's who's here. She's my GM for Call of Cthulhu. Bill's group, and in that group, we hold on a second. What happened, G-String? Give me a second. The weather is just going crazy. Like, the weather is so... Can you hear how to tune your banjo? Yeah, I can hear my banjo. Okay, we're good. Good. So you will still play with friends if you think they would be a good fit? Yes. And remain unbiased, or do you think it's possible for a friend to remain unbiased? Oh no, I mean, basically my thing is I will only play with people I think will be good for that campaign now, right? So like when I found the group that I play with, Rissa, That group was like a group of like, Rissa, how many players was it? It was like 15 maybe? 15 to 20 players, probably. And what Bill would do was he would run 3 campaigns simultaneously, everybody playing once a month. And at the beginning of a cycle, and the cycle was like 2 years usually, it's like a 2-year cycle, so like 24 sessions. And he would put out maybe 20, but not everyone would be in every cycle. Exactly. So he would put out a call with like a set of pitches, like with like 5 different pitches maybe, and you would vote on which pitch you wanted to be. And you're like, I want to be in this game. And you would also you'd rank them, like the games that you wanted, and you'd also note if there are any players you do not want to play with. And then he would put the groups together based on people's votes, right? He didn't put people together because like, oh, these are the best friends, we're gonna put them together in their group. He's like, no. These people like a lot of combat. These people want this. This person does not want to play with so-and-so. And then he put the groups together based on their interests rather than their friendship. And then the groups would come together. Now, what's interesting, of course, is that Rissa and I were almost always, we were in every cycle together, I think, because Rissa and I had similar tastes in what we wanted out of our games, and then of course, Rissa and I become good friends. We could have not become good friends, and that's because like some of the people I played with, I didn't become good friends with, I suppose. If I didn't see them very often or whatever. But the primary driver was, so there would be a call of Cthulhu. The primary driver was getting people who are compatible together as gamers. And that has become, like, having that experience, I was like, right, this is what I need to do with my life. I need to stop playing games that I don't enjoy because I'm playing with friends. I mean, side note, I will do anything for a one-shot. Like, I will play in a system that I do not enjoy, a game that I do not enjoy for a one-shot for charity. I can do anything for a one-shot and it is fine. I'm just not going to do it for 2 years, right? I stopped doing that. No longer will I play in games that I don't enjoy just because my friends are there. For 2 years, not going to do it anymore. Instead, what I'm going to do is try to find people who I think are good people, who will enjoy the game that I'm putting together and will be compatible with each other, and then we play. You know what I mean? And that's the priority. The priority is getting a good group together that will mesh well together and will play the game well together. And then if everybody becomes friends, that's great. If they don't, that's also fine. If they only play together and never talk outside of game, that's fine. If they hang out together outside of game all the time, that's also fine. I don't care. But the point is to sort of create a good gaming experience for me personally. Snorp and Bess says, there is, of course, also the problem with the only gamers around are a very small community. Yep. Like in small towns or places where the hobby is very uncommon and general due to cultural biases. Snorp and Bess, and that is why I played in terrible games for years, and games where I was being harassed because I felt like there was no other players for me, you know? Rissa says, which is why I invited Trooper to my Cthulhu game, but it took 2 tries because he moved the other side of the country and we didn't quite yet have the internet games yet. God, we're old. It's true. Snorp and Bass says, me, I'm of the notion that no gaming is better than bad gaming. I agree, Snorp and Bass, but it's not easy to hold when you haven't gotten to game for decades. Yes, thank you. And here's the thing I'm going to say about that, Snorp and Bass. And this is really interesting. Do you know when it was when I really started getting the games that I really wanted? Is when I started saying no to the games that I didn't. Like, there was a long time I was like, well, if I don't play with these people who are kind of awful, I'll never get to play at all. And so I stayed in games that weren't great for me. And what that ended up meaning was that time that I could have spent finding new gamers, I didn't, because I was playing in games I did not enjoy. And I will just also say that as a GURPS player, GURPS is a game that people hate and that think is the worst and is terrible and awful. People love to hate on GURPS. And many people will refuse to play it. And if I wanted to play GURPS at all, I would have to find players myself. And so I got pretty good at recruiting brand new people who had never played before, people who are brand new to the hobby. And I would bring in people who are brand new to the hobby, and then we would play GURPS, and it would be fun. We'd have a great time. And so if I relied on traditional gamers or pre-existing gamers, there's just a lot of things I wouldn't be able to do in my life that I enjoy doing. And so, you know, I just recruit new people. So here's what I'm going to do, folks. I love GURPS. Now you can run GURPS badly. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can run it badly, and then it's not fun. or you can run it in a way that is more fun. Like there's more than one way to run it. That's what I'm going to say about that one. Let me see. I'm going to open this up a little bit. Okay. A case of my only gamers around are to me and are only too busy and stressed. Yeah. I own it as a PDF. Oh, yes. All right. So by the way, so I'm going to play 2 songs today, right? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play 2 songs. I've decided, I was thinking about this, and I'm going to do this. I put on the capo, so I have to retune. Sorry about that. Retune, sorry. This is live. Anarch W says, I've heard some people call it a world-building engine, not an RPG, which I think is me too. I that always bugs me. I was like, you know what? Stop that. It's a generic RPG. Like, it's an RPG. Like, come on. It's not for everyone. And it's certainly not for a lot of people who don't like that style of game. But there are people who do like that style of game. And then, give me a second. Okay. So, y'all, it's hard to say no when you have no options whatsoever. Mike doesn't even have the option of bad gaming. So this is when I just recruit new players. That's what I've done. You can run any game badly. On rare occasions, you can run bad games, but still make good fun and good memories. Yeah. Conflict Demon Wolf says, I'm very close to pinning a tweet to my Twitter account. Will work for a GURPS or VTM game because it's been so long since I've been in one and they were the best experiences for me. Yes. Krillin says, role-playing to many people means exchanging snarky banter with enemies during the fight. Yeah. Okay, so look, this is what I'm going to do. I wanted to tell you. Last week I played You Don't Know Me. I'm going to play it again this week because my thought is that I'm going to play the song I played last week to see if I can play it better this week. And then I'm going to play a new song, which I'll probably want to play the week after because it'll probably be better. So I'm going to play the song I played last week, and then I'm going to play a new song. So this we're going to do You Don't Know Me, sung by Elvis, but also Ray Charles. I'm going to do smoke. There we go. I'm not using my picks because volume. You give your hand to me, and then you say hello, and I can hardly speak. My heart is beating so, and anyone could tell. Think you know me well. Hold on a second. It is so hot and sweaty. Sorry, my banjo went out of tune because it was all hot and sweaty, and I got to get my space fit. You give your hand to me, and then you say hello, and I can hardly speak. My heart is beating so, and anyone could tell. You think you know me well, but you don't know me. No, you don't know the one who dreams of you at night and longs to kiss your lips and longs to hold you tight. To you I'm just a friend, and that's all I've ever been. No, you don't know me. For I never knew the art of making love, though my heart aches with love for you. Afraid and shy, I let the chance go by, the chance that you might love me too. You give your hand to me, and then you say goodbye, and I watch you walk away beside the lucky guy to never, never know the one who loves you so. No, you don't know me. Right? And so now I'm gonna do a new one, a new song, and I've got a couple different options here. Because so here's the thing, I've been playing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 12 songs, just like on and off when I feel like I need to spend a little bit of time playing the banjo. And I've got to figure out the one I want to do next for you all. And, you know, there's some options that I've been playing with. But wait, Krellin says, but since you played last week, we do know you. This song is a lie. That is fair, actually. That is fair. Snorp and Bass says, GURPS is one of the few games I find to be great for low to mid-level power levels. Like, it'd work fine for playing characters in Tolkien's Middle-earth, or Batman, or Dirt Farmers, or Conan. It starts to get a bit wobbly when you hit Exalted or Justice League levels. Krellin says, I agree, Snorp and Bass. GURPS is bad at high levels, high power. I'm going to get back to that for a moment. Rissa says, after last week, I stumbled on Willie Nelson's version of You Know Me. Nobody sounds quite like, ooh, I should hear that one. Krellin says, Trooper thinks GURPS can do anything. Actually, I don't think that's true, but doesn't actually have high power experience to counter because he doesn't like high power. I will just say that I personally don't like high power. However, Bill, who was the GM, ran, because also GURPS 4th edition is different than 3rd edition. They did some things to change things up. And Bill, our GM from that group, is the person who wrote GURPS Supers. And for 5th edition, I think, 4th edition. And he was running a game called, I think Rissa was in it, called something or other, but everybody was like 1,000 point power super. Like, I'm just saying, even though I don't particularly run that style, I know a lot of people who really, really do enjoy super high powered GURPS. So like, I don't run it, but I'm just saying there are a lot of people who do like it. Snorp and Best says, I find the hero system and champions work well for high power levels, but character generation makes GURPS look like it's made of pre-gens. D&D does high power very well, but people don't think about it that way. I think it totally does. Snorp and Bass says, any game where you have to use graph papers and calculators to make a single skill set is, well, a choice. My two least favorite phrases are do the needful and phase 12. Cosmic Demon Wolf says, I've had good experiences with high point GURPS games, superheroes and high fantasy. That's mostly because the GM and the players trusted each other and the players had restraint. Aside from that, high point campaigns are like high level D&D 3.5 games where the mechanics just get unwieldy. Thank you. So like, it's not my preferred thing, but I know that some people like it. Okay, so look, I'm gonna ask you, do I do song A or song B? Because I want to do the second song, which is like the song that I'm gonna play, and then I'm gonna keep working on it, so next week it'll be better. Do you want song A or song B? We should do a poll. I could do either one. Song B? Okay. Song B. We're gonna do song B. And that is, where is it? Here it is. It's right over here. Okay, we're gonna do song B. No, you don't know what it means, but you're gonna find out. So song B is by Orville Peck. It is Ain't No Glory in the West. And I really should, I should do this. Because, what did I do there? Nope, I don't want that. I want a new window. I'm gonna set this up so that it works out. New window, and here, and there, and here, there, and everywhere. Yeah, so I'm gonna do a song by Orville Peck. I basically have been like playing through a number of his songs. He's got a bunch of songs. And what's been fascinating playing through a bunch of his songs all at the same time is I was like, oh, Orville Peck has certain preferences as a songwriter. Specifically, he really, really does like certain minor chords, but you know, that is life. The highest power level I ever played was in Nobilis, but I mean, it's a game where you don't even use dice, so playing living concepts of reality. You voted for Blur. Oh. So this is No Glory in the West. I've just been practicing it, so we're gonna see how it goes. If I can remember how to do it right. They say Paris. No, say. They say Paris. No, wait. They say Paris is dead. Lived through London and drank through Memphis. Things you live by were once just a guess. There ain't no glory in the West. No, there ain't no glory in the West. Hard to think on your feet. Tired of begging them just to compete. Shoot to win can feel so bittersweet, but you take what you can get. 'Cause there ain't no glory in the West. Blazing on, blazing on ahead, burning through it, coming down the bend. Nowhere left to go, going's all we know. Riding past the best, and there's still no rest. There's still no rest. There ain't no glory in the West. What's the boy to do? Hit the road with $1 or two. Haunted by what he knows he can't do. Gets it off his chest. 'Cause there ain't no glory in the West. Burning on ahead, blazing through it, running blind again. Nowhere left to go, going's all we know. Riding past the best, and there's still no rest. And there's still no rest. There's still no rest. There ain't no glory in the West. Count your blessings, they say. And after each midnight begins a new day. But don't place your bets on a word that they say. They'll put your life to rest. 'Cause there ain't no glory. No, there ain't no glory. No, there ain't no glory in the West. Next thing you'll do song 2, right? Well, this is song 2. This was song 2. So next week I'll do song 2 again and then song 1. right? Yes. That's the one I'm like, that's the one I'm working on. And that's Orville Peck. You call it contemporary country. Orville Peck though is tricky because Orville Peck is on Sub Pop Records rather than a country label because he is super gay and he's like he wears a mask on his face, and Nashville is not super happy. Nashville's not like, we love Orville Peck. We think he's great. Dropped in the link to Willie. Ooh, thank you. Please do. Oh, you want song 2. Oh, you want song. Oh, now I have to number them. Now I have to number them now and figure out what that is. Give me 1 second. I want to try one thing for you all. Give me a second. Back to it. This humidity is making my banjo sad. Look, I can't do this song for you, and it's like a surprise, but I just want to tell you what I've been doing. All right, I can do it. All right, y'all. Yeah, I know, shame on Nashville, right? So, okay, look, I'm gonna do a thing that I can't do. It's not a thing I can do. It's not ready. It's gonna be embarrassing, but I'm gonna do song A, even though I can't do it, and it's gonna be embarrassing. But it's been what I've been working on, and you know, I'll just been working on it. So, and I'm gonna get it wrong. Just so you know, I want you to know that I'm gonna get it wrong. I'm not gonna be able to end it properly, and it's gonna be just all around embarrassing. But here you go. And I'm not gonna get the starting note either. Wait. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure I get my starting note because the starting note's a little bit funky. Here, hold on a second. I'm going to mute myself to see if I can get the right starting note. Give me 1 second. Okay, I got it. Because I'm transposing it downwards, so I want to get it right. So there you go. Okay. This is just. Don't think I can't feel that there's something wrong. You've been the sweetest part of my life for so long. I look in your eyes and there's a distant light, and you and I know there'll be a storm tonight. This is getting serious. Are you thinking about you or us? Don't say what you're about to say. Look back before you leave my life. Be sure before you close that door. Before you roll those dice, baby, think twice. Baby, think twice for the sake of our love, for the memory, the find the faith that was you and me. Baby, I know it ain't easy when your soul cries out for higher ground. 'Cause when you're halfway up, you're always halfway down. But baby, this is serious. Are you thinking about you or us? Don't say what you're about to say. Look back before you leave my life. Be sure before you close that door. Before you roll those dice. Maybe think twice. Baby, this is serious. Are you thinking about you or us? Baby, don't say what you're about to say. No, 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 no. Look back before you leave my life. Don't leave my life. Be sure before you close that door. Before you roll those dice. Maybe think twice. Yeah, that's Kron's like, come on, Trooper. You knew you want to entertain neighbors with your loud woohoos. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about my I was thinking about my loud woohoos. I'll get there. By the way, yes, this is Celine Dion. This is the Celine Dion. That is correct. This is so song 2 was Woohoo Song by Blur. The name is song 2, but no one knows that because it's basically known as the Woohoo song. I should go listen to it. I heard song 2 first time in a football game and thought it was the best thing. And then you have to go and eat prep. I do have to go and eat prep. The best song of part 2 is that it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's a pithy 2 minutes and not 3-4 like most songs. That is fair. It's literally a shitpost song. Yes, Curlin, this is my Celine Dion. Like Ramon's song, it lasts only as long as it takes you to get to the top of the dance floor and flail about. Indeed. Isn't it just one old lady next door? I think she's downstairs. Anyway, I'm still working on my Celine Dion. I'm working on it. I'm going to get my Celine Dion, and it's going to be really good. I've also been working on Truly Madly Deeply, and also, honestly, that sounded a lot like an old Culture Club song, which may have been a cover of an early reggae song. Thank you, Balrog. Hey, can I tell you one other thing that I'm working on? This is really not ready at all. It's not ready. It's not ready. You cannot listen to it, but this also has been what I've been working on because it amuses me to, truly. So I've been working on that one too, but I've also been working on this one. And this is not good because I haven't yet decided how I want to play it. But this is just for you because I think this is super amusing. Again, it's not there yet, but once upon a time, a few mistakes ago, I was in your sights and you left me alone. You found me. Well, I guess you didn't care. I guess I like that. I'm not there yet. I'm almost there. But when I fell hard, you took a step back. Without me. And he's long gone. When he's next to me. And I'm still working on how I want to do this, like, rhythmically, and I realize the blame is on me. 'Cause I knew you were trouble when you walked in. So shame, do you want to do my D up here? So shame on me now, I flew me to places I've never been. Until you put me down now, I knew you were trouble when you walked in. So shame on me now, I flew me to places I've never been. Where's my bin? A bin. And now I'm lying on the cold hard ground. Oh no, I'm lying on the cold hard ground. Oh. Trouble, D, trouble, oh, trouble, trouble. So I'm still working on it. I'm still working on my trouble, but like, I think I've got, like, I've just got to get the, like, where I want to come in because the chords are like really weirdly placed, but you know, like, Oh. Oh, that's what I want. Oh. Oh. Trouble. Anyway, I'm working on it. I'm working on Trouble by Tay Tay. That's what I'm working on. Yeah. I just have to get it right. Because this one is still because it's like a really different song, and I have to just figure out how I want to get it under my fingers. But I'm working on it. I'm gonna get Trouble. Trouble's not for next week. Next week is Celine Dion. So next week I'm gonna play Celine Dion and then probably something else. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I'm just working through it. We must do a chat about music with banjo one day. I think we do that all the time. But maybe. Trouble, trouble, trouble. Trouble, trouble, trouble. Working on it. I'm working on it. Found the song when I was thinking of everything I own, and it was indeed an earlier song by David Gates, so not reggae, released in '74. Ooh. Only chat and banjo. I don't know if I have I did an entire music lecture where all I did was talk about music for like 4 hours. Those things happen. Anyway, I've been working on the banjo. I've been working on it. But it is 3:30. It is time for me to go. We've been streaming for 3 hours and 3 minutes and 16 seconds. But next week, I'm going to go back to Think Twice. I find it funny that filters don't pick up the goat. Oh. Trooper Swift. Yes. So next week, I'm going to play Think Twice by Celine Dion. No, I lied to you. Next week is going to be No Glory for the West, a second time to get it more under my fingers, and then probably Think Twice by Celine Dion. So basically just two songs. The last one and then the next one. So I'm going to do No Glory in the West next week, and then probably Think Twice by Celine Dion. If I can get it down, we'll think about it. Thank you for being here. You all have been lovely. Where's the next place you can find me? So tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern over at Weave the Tale, I will be GMing the series finale of Fate of Cthulhu, Return of Carcosa. I've got some DMs to give my players to let them know they asked me some questions. I'm going to give them answers back. And then you can find me tomorrow, Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern here on my channel playing Divinity Original Sin with Little Red Dot from 11 to 1. And then at 11 to 1, and then I'm playing Call of Cthulhu with Rissa from 3 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern over at Praxigo the Smorphoria's channel, Romance of the Blue Rose will start at 8. But that Call of Cthulhu game is offline. You can't watch it. It's just for me and the gang. But at 8 p.m. is Praxagora the Smorphoria's Romance of the Blue Rose, and I will be on that game starting around 9 a.m. Once I get off the game with Rissa, I'll be over there being Russ. And then you can find me again on Wednesday at 8 p.m. over at Praxis channel for Witcher the Roads Home, where we're in trouble, folks. We're in trouble. We're in trouble in both of Praxis games, to be honest. Those are all true statements. That's just truth. That's us. That's what we got going on. But you can, if you like, you can follow and subscribe to this channel if you are so moved. You can join our Discord if you're so moved. You can see the archive of all of these shows on YouTube at Trooper SJP, or you can find me at Academic Foxhole on Twitter, or Patreon at Academic Foxhole, which goes to support the RPGs. And, Prax likes trouble. She's a goat. She's the greatest of all time. She's a goat. That's true. This is for Prax. Trouble. Oh, there's a different song I want to do maybe. Anyway, don't worry about it. I'm going to do No Glory in the West next time, and then I'm going to do something else. And we won't know what it is. It's probably going to be Celine Dion. We'll see. But I've got another song I'm working on. Anyway, I'm not going to play it. I'm going to go. I'm leaving. I'm going to get some food. 3 Hudsons. Oh. So Prax, yeah, I knew Prax was trouble when I signed on. Shame on me for playing a character that might get head trauma. And now I'm lying on the cold, hard floor. Head trauma, trauma, trauma. Head trauma, trauma, trauma. That's what I'm doing. That's it. I'm gonna go get some food, everybody. Take care of yourselves. I will see you like in a couple hours, or I'll see you around, and take care of yourselves. Oh, no, we're gonna raid. Because we didn't raid last time. We're gonna raid this time. We're gonna raid because I can do a raid right now. Who's up that I can raid? Let's raid. Gosh. I will, who am I gonna raid? Let's raid roll for it. We're gonna raid roll for it. What are they doing right now? They're doing Mass Effect. All right, we're gonna, wait. Before I raid, let me just check my follow list, because maybe somebody who's not massive will be on right now. And then we can just, give them a little bit of love before we do our raid. Because I just, I want to give people love. I care about that. Who we got? We've got, hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna raid Steve Jackson Games, because we were talking about GURPS. So we're gonna raid Steve Jackson Games because that kind of tickles me right now. And let's give them some love. They're doing board games right now. So let's just do it. Steve Jackson Games. Steve Jackson Games. Yeah, we're gonna go and raid Steve Jackson Games and give him a little bit of GURPS love, if we will. So take care, everybody. I will see you out and about and around, and let's give a little bit of love to Steve Jackson Games, and then I will catch you on the flip side. Ciao, everybody.